Oh, we're live.
Hey, we're live. What's happening? Thanks for tuning in and watching Funkshop TV right here on twitch.tv/Funkshop TV. Good morning, Julia. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday so far. Today is Wednesday, January 9th, 2019. It's scary that we're in 2019 for some, for many, for me. So I'm Biggz. You can follow me on Twitch at FunkshopBiggz, just like it's spelled above, with Biggz. And sitting across from me, but as far as you can see, he is that way.
I'm Duce Josh again today.
Duce Josh again today. Josh is not with us this morning. He's skipping class.
Hey, turn down the music.
Turn down Pencil Rock?
Yeah. It's overpowering us.
Well, it's probably because we pulled down the mic line so much in Streamlabs.
What?
We pulled down the mic line so much in Streamlabs and not the desktop audio.
Yeah, pull it up.
Are you getting an echo through it at all?
A little bit more, probably another. Yeah, somewhere there. No, I'm not getting any echo.
You know what? Yeah, that should work. So Sean brought over his soundboard because it was time to officially retire mine that we were using. So for the next few days, we're going to be having to fine tune and tweak some audio properties. It happens. I'm eating breakfast this morning. Thanks to Jessica, I've got a chocolate-covered granola bar.
And I'm not sure about, these are cheap headphones, so, I don't use them very rarely, once a year. So I don't know what tone they should sound like.
Gotcha.
So I'm, not happy with
So
the
if you
tone.
happen to be listening and you think that our music is too loud or our vocals are too loud, or if we start clipping and sounded distorted, go ahead and let us know. We'd appreciate the feedback.
Hopefully we should just be generally better off today than we were yesterday. I'm not hearing clips, so that's a good thing. Anywho.
No loud distortions.
No, not yet. I mean, I'm going to throw this in occasionally just to kind of listen to what's going on. I think yesterday mostly it was me that was clipping more than anything. So, anywho, so what's on the agenda for today? Anything exciting?
Hey, Mom. Mom says sounds good to me. We're starting the giveaway. Once again, we're giving away a Funko Pop this morning. There's a little bit of information in case you want to win.
And we're doing a YouTube giveaway every week. So, somebody commented on our Joe Rogan video, but I can't see the comment.
What?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where it is.
Why can't you?
I don't know. It's not showing up. It says one comment, but this comment's not there.
Maybe they deleted it.
Maybe. But it's weird. They would not. But does it still show us total comments? No, I'm not sure about that. I never thought of that.
Can we not watch this?
All right, I'm pulling it up right now, and
We haven't really even played it on here.
got a heart from 1 Gram Army.
Heart from.
And there is a comment.
Well, it's our comment, but I'll talk about another comment.
No, there's a few comments.
3, 2. What, really?
And we're live.
Even
Mr. West.
King
how are you?
Bo Christ,
I'm feeling feet up,
King Bo Christ said, even if I'm sick, you can still feel good if you have an illness. And then the next comment said, I had to come back just to hear that. So I don't know exactly what that means.
What?
Oh.
Oh, I see. Okay, now I see something.
That was on the 1 Gram Army post.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Now I see it, but I don't know why it's not showing up in the.
No, I don't see any comments on any of our videos.
I found one in the where it says public. It says public. This is fantastic, gents. 1 Gram Army did stupid Halloween version.
Good morning,
of
Joshua.
Interview 2. And they left a link.
Good morning, Tina. Hey, thanks for watching, joining.
I'm assuming.
And Matt Lowe. Matt Lowe said, finally been sitting here with lube waiting for you guys. I'm not surprised. Because I'm a sexy beast.
Is Josh there? Oh,
Yeah, Josh is here.
I'm assuming I think you had you have a doctor's appointment today or something, right? That's what I couldn't remember.
He's talking to you, Josh.
I am. Oh damn! I almost spilled the coffee.
So I've got a whole list of.
So I got me some blueberry coffee. Sorry to interrupt.
Where'd you get blueberry coffee at?
7-Eleven. Right over here.
Oh yeah, Josh said he's about to go.
Cool.
Is it like blueberry coffee right out of the carafe or whatever they call them?
Yeah, the little flip the little thingy where it's actual coffee. It actually has a very good blueberry flavor. Like it's not overpowering and it's not like sometimes with coffee, especially with coffees, you get these flavors they just don't blend well or don't come out, and they just. For example, like Starbucks and Dutch Bros coffees, like there's a lot of flavors that don't mix well with Dutch Bro coffee that are like just terrible. And
I've never in my life been a coffee drinker.
Yeah.
But I got.
You ever drink it at all?
The last few days, I think I've drank more than I have over the last few years. But I got Jess one of those K-Cup coffee makers for Christmas and a sampler pack off of Amazon. So it had like 40 cups. There's a bunch of different flavors.
Okay, so you've tried some.
Yeah, so we've been trying different flavors. I have to add creamer to it. I cannot drink coffee without creamer.
Yeah, for sure. Me too.
My mom just is straight up black coffee, no additions. I don't understand how she does it. Scenes of Now, what up?
So, sometimes, like with some of the flavored creamers, like if you go to like the store, some of those really like if you pair them with the right coffees,
right?
They really like bring out the flavor really well. Like, and it's really like a matter of finding what you like. I think there's a coffee for most people. I mean, obviously there's gonna be people that just don't like coffee, period. But I think like there's a lot of coffees I don't like.
Yeah.
There's coffees that I really like. So, and like, I don't really ever feel the need to have it exactly, but it does give you just a little kick in the pants, but just enough to kind of get the brain moving for the day.
Get the cobwebs wiped out a little bit.
Yeah, especially if you only got like 4 hours of sleep the night before. But yeah, I mean,
for the first time in weeks, I actually got a decent amount of sleep last night.
I was gonna say you seemed more awake this morning than I did until I started drinking some of this coffee.
Well, I fell asleep last night on the couch, fully dressed, fully clothed, and I hate doing that. Like it bugs me the way it makes you feel when you wake up. You just feel greasy and grimy, and so I fell asleep for like 5 hours, and then I woke up and I was gathering some notes for today's podcast and went back to sleep for another 4 hours.
Yeah, we got 10 viewers already. Nice. 11 viewers.
Nice.
That's what I'm showing. Love it.
Yeah, Josh said, congratulations, sleep is priceless. I average probably 4.5 hours, between 4.5 and 6 hours a day. That's my normal.
Bam. Thanks,
so,
Josh.
My 8 to 9 hours wasn't consecutive. I woke up to deal with some podcast stuff in between.
Yeah.
Because this is starting to seem like a never-ending nightmare. I mean, job. It
will become a job. It will become. And like...
It will become a nightmare?
No. I'm hoping not.
It's already there.
Before we went live, we were talking about doing... We came up with I came up with an idea to do ad reads, and I don't know why I didn't think about this approach like months ago. Like a dumbass. Sometimes you just have so many things going on, you just forget the obvious.
Right.
But going on to Fiverr and having people pay a small fee to have us read product ads. Obviously, like we'll be the end decider, like on what if it's like something ridiculous. But generally speaking, like I think most people aren't gonna like have us read insane things.
Matt Lowe's gonna hire us to read stuff that's gonna make my mom not want to watch this podcast anymore.
He probably would. I could totally see Matt Lowe like pretending to be somebody else in some ridiculous commercial. He's like, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
most
also
likely.
plays into the idea of
fleshlights. Fleshlights are just the beginning. That's just the tip. There's so much more.
Those are pretty common. Actually, I used to be a sponsor for Joe Rogan.
Fleshlight?
Fleshlight.
You're serious?
I think that was the first sponsor Joe Rogan had for his podcast.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
He used to do ad reads all the time.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to anymore.
No, he doesn't need to do shit. He could sit there and pick his nose, and he's gonna get viewers.
Yeah.
getting into it, we've got like 7 or 8 stories to cover today.
Oh,
so,
Jesus.
Yep.
That's right.
I'm going to try to flash through some of these because some of them just aren't worth talking a whole lot about. I just think they're really interesting. Just the tip, Lana. Just the tip, Julia. The first two, actually, we...
Are you linening to me right now?
What?
Are you linening? Linening. Oh, you weren't here. You missed that part.
I did miss that.
That's when Casey was on here talking to us, and she spelt lying, linening.
Oh, yes.
So no. And
Am I lying to you?
No,
What would I be lying to you about?
I don't know. Are we linening about this?
No, this is real talk.
Oh, okay, just checking. That's gonna
Dude,
be
none of our stories are made up.
That's gonna be a new catchphrase.
Some of our commercials will be made up soon, but none of our stories are made up. So, the headline reads, "Teacher who fed live puppy to turtle found not guilty of animal cruelty."
Okay, read that again.
Teacher who fed live puppy to turtle found not guilty of animal cruelty.
Teacher who fed
Live puppy
puppy. Okay, sorry,
to turtle.
My brain is still catching up.
Well, it's like when you hear the headline, if you don't like there's a pictorial here of a turtle staring me in the face. So that I'm imagining this turtle eating a puppy.
I was picturing the snapping turtle biting that dude's lip when he was trying to kiss it.
Oh yeah,
So
that was pretty horrendous.
I was like, you are lucky to even have your lips and face.
Yeah, you want to cleft lip real quick? Put your face close to a snapping turtle.
That was,
So once again, teacher who fed live puppy to turtle found not guilty of animal cruelty. I want to know, like, I would love to be in a room full of PETA activists and watch somebody stand up and narrate this story. So, an Idaho science teacher who ignited worldwide controversy after feeding a puppy to a snapping turtle was found not guilty of animal cruelty Friday evening. A panel of 6 jurors delivered the verdict to a packed courtroom after deliberating less than 30 minutes following the 2-day trial in Franklin County. Robert Crossland, the Preston Junior High School teacher, smiled as the verdict was read and afterwards spoke publicly for the first time since the March ordeal. "I would just like to thank all of the support that I've received," he said. "I'd like to thank this community for staying behind me. It's really what got me through all this." Crossland fed the sick puppy? Why would you feed a sick puppy to a turtle?
I mean,
The turtle was hungry.
If the dog, it's still fucked up. Never mind. Continue.
Crossland, you know what though? To me, it's no different than feeding it anything else.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
People make rats as pets, but if we feed a rat to a snake, it's natural, right?
No,
If the turtle's hungry and the turtle wants to eat a dog and you got a puppy that you don't want to raise, feed it to the dog. I was about to say something else, but that would really get us in some hot water, so I'm going to keep that thought to myself. Crossland fed the sick puppy to a turtle named Jaws at Preston Junior High School after hours in front of a few students. Following an investigation by the state attorney general, he was charged with misdemeanor animal cruelty. Shane Reichart, one of Crossland's defense attorneys, admitted that some people might take issue with the snapping turtle eating a puppy, but Reichart argued that in the eyes of the law, there is no difference between the dog and a rat or even a deer people hunt. Absolutely agree. As we set out from the beginning, we thought the state was going to have a difficult time proving this case beyond a reasonable doubt, Reichart said. Idaho Attorney General Lawrence Wasden thanked the investigators and attorneys who worked on the case on behalf of his office. As prosecutors, our job is to present evidence to the jury. In this case, Mr. Crossland's peers in Franklin County did not find the state proved guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I appreciate the jurors' attention and respect on their decision, Wasden said in a prepared statement. So what happened in March? Based on witness testimony from the trial, the timeline leading up to the snapping turtle eating the puppy is as follows. Crossland's son, Mario Crossland, received the puppy from a farmer he knew. One of the farmer's dogs had recently given birth to a litter of puppies, and the farmer was worried the pups were feeding off of the mother too much, causing her health to decline. As a result, he started giving the puppies to others. When Mario received the puppy, he noticed it was sick. He said in his testimony that the puppy's eyes were cloudy and it refused to eat. He said he and his sister tried to nurse the puppy back to health, but after a day, it was clear the puppy was going to die. He said no matter what they did, it refused to eat.
That's what I was getting at, or I was about to. Anyway. I was like, is this dog so sick it's going to die soon? If so, like, I mean, whatever, but, I mean, normally people would just shoot the dog. I mean, it's probably, would have been more humane.
I bet most people would
shoot
just
the dog, then feed the dog to the...
I'm willing to bet most people would just let it die, which is way more inhumane.
Yeah, for sure.
But most people would be like, oh, my poor puppy's sick, my puppy's sick. And they're going to pet it and coddle it until it takes its last breath.
Yeah, and which is understandable. Like when my family had dogs that were like, usually when a dog gets sick, they'll get like cancer or something like that. And it's like this slow, they get to where they can't walk. And
I doubt it was much of a fight, Josh.
They'll get to where they can't walk or, just basic functions. They can't do shit. They're just like laying on the ground. And so my dad used to take our dogs that were like that they got to a point where they weren't functionable anymore. And they were clearly just suffering. You just take them out into the woods and shoot them.
Right. I grew up around those same type of scenarios. My grandfather putting down animals that we made pets when they became sick. You get used to it.
Or you can just go to the vet and pay $500 to euthanize. Like,
yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know. To me, like,
it's like robbery of people.
No pet, no animal is a human being. So I'm not going to have the same attachment to an animal as I would a human. I think PETA is way overboard on a lot of things. Even if, if you had a dog that had 15 puppies and the dog was actually, the mother dog was deteriorating in health because she's trying to feed and nourish all of these 15 puppies and you feel like you need to lower the litter a little bit, I'd pick the 3 ugliest ones and feed all 3 of them to the turtle. But that's just me. I don't care. We were talking yesterday about what's the when people start eating Tide Pods and doing stupid shit. What is that called? When people start killing themselves and for stupid reasons.
Natural selection.
Thank you. Josh said, "What if I identify as a puppy? I'm hurt." Yeah, well, if you identify as a puppy, you need to be sitting in a padded room somewhere.
Or, if you're gonna do
then
that,
you can quote me saying that.
You have to put on the strap on backwards for a tail and wear a mask and.
In fact, somebody clip what I just said and make it go viral. If you identify as a puppy, you deserve to be in a padded room somewhere where they bring you a little bland meal on a metal tray 3 times a day. Where they bring your kibble on a metal tray, they put it on the floor, slide it in for you.
People would get off on that.
People, I'm sure they would. And if people are like that, they belong in a padded room. Plain and simple. I'm okay with that. Probably. With my dog Matt.
What if they have a really good other skill? Like they don't like live that all the time. They have some other really cool skill that is beneficial to society. Just a what if.
If they're still, while they're doing that skill that's beneficial to society, they're trying to prove their point that they identify as a dog?
No, not while they're doing the other skill.
If the dog is just a side thing?
In their spare time, yeah.
If it's a side fetish, I don't care.
Yeah.
Whatever you do on your own time is your own business, as long as it's within the boundaries of the law.
So, like that video we've, I think, played several times on here of that girl that identified as a dog, or her husband was her, trainer or whatever. You remember that video I'm talking about? We've played it several
times. The girl
times.
who bangs dogs will come take care of me. Josh, you can have her, bro. You can have her.
You know what I'm talking about?
I didn't even know you could leave a comment with a cheer and the comment would pop up as a cheer notification on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
That's the very first time I've ever noticed that.
There's ways to do that. I'm getting an ad for Postmates on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know what you're referring to. I remember us going over the horse video.
No, I don't know if it was the same episode, but I know we've showed it because I've seen it on the screen. It was a video of a girl identifying as a dog, and she basically repurposed a strap-on type of harness, and then took that and put it backwards, so it was like a tail. And then she had like and she'd like win a bunch. She won a bunch of awards for being best in show, because they'd have like they actually have competitions for people that like act like dogs, like dog shows that are for humans, and horse ones, and yeah, that's a thing. It's a real thing.
Look, to me, I'm gonna call that a hobby.
Yeah.
Because if that's not you 24 hours a day.
I mean, I think she kind of like at home. She like kind of, from the video I watched, the interview, it seemed like it was probably most of the time at home, but like in general society, most of the time, like if she went to work and stuff, she was like, you're like a semi-normal person, you know? I think most people fall to that. If you're like so far extreme to like, it's all I'm going to be 24/7, yeah, you should probably be like,
Wow.
I guess if you find somebody that like wants to take care of you like that, I mean, whatever.
I mean, there's grown people that put on diapers and let their significant other take care of them as if they're a baby, and they actually shit their diaper and
I think most
get their
don't
ass
go quite
wiped.
that extreme, but some sure do. I mean, there's.
I just remember seeing it on Jerry Springer years ago. So back to this article.
That was the ad. That was the ad read, by the way.
We'll backtrack a little bit. When Mario received the puppy, he noticed it was sick. He said in his testimony, puppy's eyes were cloudy, he refused to eat. He said that he and his sister tried to nurse the puppy back to health.
You get a call.
Yeah. But after a day, it was clear the puppy was going to die. He said no matter what they did, it refused to eat. So the article continues to say, they gave the puppy to their dad, who decided he would feed it to either his python Monty or the snapping turtle. Crossland arrived at school and attempted to feed the puppy to Monty, but the snake didn't eat it. The teacher then took the pup out to his van and continued with his regular teaching schedule. After school ended, Crossland stayed to help a student with the project. He mentioned to the few students in the classroom that he needed to feed his animals and asked if anyone would be offended because a puppy would be involved. The witnesses all testified Friday that they did not have a problem with it. Crossland let the students handle the puppy. Most of the witnesses said they noticed it was sickly, lethargic, and its ribs were sticking out. A couple noted the puppy's eyes were cloudy. After a few moments, Crossland placed the puppy in the snake's enclosure, but it became clear the reptile was not interested. Crossland then put the puppy in the snapping turtle's 350-gallon tank. Witnesses testified the puppy tried to swim for a couple of seconds, and then the turtle pulled the puppy under the water. Instead of eating the puppy right away, the turtle waited for it to stop moving, which took around 30 seconds. A few of the witnesses said the puppy could barely move its legs before losing consciousness, and it did not struggle much because of its poor health. After the turtle ate the puppy, the students left. Idaho Deputy Attorney General David Morris argued that the puppy suffered as a result of the feeding, saying it was flailing around and crashing around in the turtle tank. What witnesses said about Crossland, every witness called to testify said it was common knowledge that Crossland fed live animals to the snapping turtle and snake that were kept in his classroom. The Preston Junior High School Science Department director said those reptiles would not eat dead animals, and it was the movement of living creatures that triggered their response to feed.
Yeah, duh.
Right.
How is that like? I mean, we're kind of in a weird place. Like, if it's a certain kind of animal, we're gonna get offended by it. Like, if it's a cute animal, we're gonna be offended that you fed it to another living creature, part of the food chain. Guess what? There's lots of animals that'll eat a dog alive.
Right. Right. I mean, there's a lot of animals that will take down a giraffe.
I don't know if there's a lot that'll take down a giraffe, but
there's a lot of lions and tigers out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Only a very few breeds, but a lot of animals that will do it.
I mean, I might take down a giraffe.
Another common theme among witnesses with the puppy was that the puppy Crossland fed to the turtle was deathly ill. The witnesses consisted of current and previous students. They made clear that Crossland is a beloved teacher, one even testifying that he was his favorite teacher in school. Two of Crossland's colleagues in the science department had only positive things to say about Crossland's character, his love for teaching, and his passion for animals. Crossland's son Mario became emotional when testifying about his father's love for animals and how he would do whatever he could to care for them. Mario even went so far as to say that his father could do what fish and game couldn't when it came to caring for animals. What's next for Crossland? Crossland continues to teach for the Preston School District, and he feels a lot of relief with the not guilty verdict. Students, teachers, and others in Preston hope the community can now move forward. There was no question in my mind that he had no evil intent or no intent to harm this animal. Given the fact that what he does for a living and the area in which he teaches, there is no question he was doing what he thought was best for this puppy, Stratton Legis, Crossland's other attorney said.
The fact that we have to go to court over this is ridiculous.
Even in Idaho, like, I could see it in a big city. I could see students be like becoming activists and stuff, but in Idaho, come on.
Right. It's
In a farm town, come on.
Kind of weird.
I think it's very weird. Very weird.
We're just getting soft, so damn soft.
Right.
This kind of comes back to what I was talking about yesterday about like trying to protect everybody from everything. Stop. Knock it off. Lawmakers, get off your
Josh,
stupid.
it sounds like that dog had a rough time. Sure did. Rough. Should have spelled it R-U-F-F. That would have made the better pun.
True story.
Come on, comedian. I just can't believe that Turtle ate him in a snap. That one's better. Oh, I saw a news report today.
Oh,
A
yeah?
news blurb. And I was going to save it, but I'm in the middle of dumping out some of yesterday's dinner before I got into the shower. You know those flex phones that you keep talking about? The flexible phones?
Oh, yeah.
One of them broke. That's what I saw. Like, there was a fail in one of the testings, and it snapped.
Oh, I mean, that is definitely going to happen. Or like, it's for these first generations.
Yeah, just
of
because
things.
it's flexible doesn't mean you fold it in half, where it's not meant to fold.
Oh, yeah. And like, there's going to be defects, and like, the first generation or two.
I'm not going to read that,
generations
Josh.
Are going to be messed up.
I don't want the NAACP coming after me. So the next story is Dad Events app that locks your kids' phones until they reply to your texts. This is in Meredith. It can be frustrating to send a text message and not get a reply, especially for parents trying to reach their kids. Nick Herbert, a dad in the United Kingdom, hopes to eliminate the problem with Reply ASAP, a new mobile app that essentially freezes a child's phone until they respond to a text. So how does this work? The app takes over the screen and triggers an alarm that sounds off until the message is read, forcing the recipient to reply to regain control of their device. The app even works while the phone is on silent. If it's turned off, the alert will arrive as soon as the phone is switched on. The child can delete the app altogether, but their parents will be notified immediately. Herbert said during the development process, he showed his son, Ben, the designs and thinking behind the app. He likes the idea because he will know that if he gets one of these messages, he will always hear it and will know it's important, Herbert wrote on the Reply ASAP website. While the app can be a useful tool for parents, Herbert said it can be used for sending important messages to friends or colleagues as well. Reply ASAP is currently available for Android, but there is no iOS version for Apple devices. Other apps that also allow parents to track and lock their child's phone. In 2014, a Texas mom created Ignore No More, an app that forces kids to return their parents' phone calls. What do you think?
I mean, I feel like there's kind of apps that probably already exist that are similar to that. But I mean, I hope it doesn't lock out like 911 features and stuff of that nature.
Right?
I mean, it probably doesn't. One would hope.
We can assume it doesn't, but who knows?
Why does it say I've cheered a total of 600 units? Okay, I thought it said 60. Text is really small.
Word.
Nice. Yay!
Yay,
Anyway,
I got mail.
that should be I got mail should be a thing that pops up as one of the notifications. You've got mail.
The old AOL voice.
God, yeah.
You have mail.
Man, I remember actually going and watching that movie in the movie theater. Like, and I remember like, because internet dating was super like new at that
Getting
point.
married? Get 50%
And,
off tickets to
like talking.
Is that Michael?
Yeah.
Have a good day at work, Michael.
Anyway, online dating was like super new. Like the whole concept was kind of crazy, and in that movie, like nowadays it's completely normal, but that point in time, that movie was very like spoke to that thing. And I remember like talking to chicks, and me and my friends were talking to chicks online, on AOL or whatever.
Right.
And people would go watch that movie and be like, "Oh, I can totally relate to this. This is so weird," but we're all doing it.
Who can relate?
Yeah. And everyone's talking about like, "Oh, this is so weird. We're doing this. We're talking to people through like a device, and we're just getting these messages over the airwaves and whatever." Actually, at that point in time, cell phones weren't really a thing yet, so we were getting emails. We'd be stuck in our house, like, on AOL and ICQ and whatever, and we'd be like, "Be right back. I'm going to the store." Like there was like literally, you'd actually separate from the internet for a while.
Right.
Now that's unheard of. It's crazy.
So the next story, I'm not gonna. There's a news clip on it. I'm not gonna play it because I don't want to be hushed or silenced by the powers that be. Because I'm really tired of our Funkshop TV email being filled up with notifications that a copyright claim has been made.
You forwarded me the one of me and Matt Lowe.
Yes.
So I'm going to touch on that real quick while you're talking about this.
Yes, I did.
So, which is actually hilarious. I mean, we didn't buy that beat that we used for that spoof track, we didn't purchase it was just, whatever. But what's hilarious is the person that claimed it against us.
Uh-huh.
You go look at their upload date of their video, because I went and looked at their actual claim and where their video was.
Okay.
So they have like just like a still image and the song playing, like it's
right.
like their logo or whatever. And their song fucking sucks, by the way. Guy's terrible at rapping, like really bad.
Okay.
But he has it uploaded.
Like many are.
Yeah. So he has uploaded to CD Baby, and CD Baby flagged it. Well, what's funny is like, if you go look at our original thing, it was uploaded 8 months before his. Before his shit came out, ours was uploaded 8 months before that. So, how do you have copyright claim over that?
Right.
Because I know you don't. You don't own that beat. You may have leased it, but that doesn't give you a copyright claim over that.
Right. That's what I would. Like I was wondering. That's why I forwarded it to you. I was like, oh, this
unless
is
he
interesting.
bought complete rights to it, but I highly doubt it. Because
I very much doubt it.
Because if you only have like 53 plays on your shit or whatever it is, it's like it's so small, and you didn't have the money to buy full outright that beat,
right?
Because I think that beat was probably like $500, more than likely, something
around
like that.
ballpark, 250 maybe.
Yeah,
who knows?
Who I can't remember who made it. I think actually All Around Beats made that. I don't remember, but if it was the producer that I'm thinking that was off the top of my head, it's not uncommon for them to sell their beats upwards of $2,000, like for full rights. But usually it wouldn't be somebody like that wouldn't be. It would be way higher production value for one. Like you're not gonna spend $2,000 on a beat and then like record it on a $7 microphone.
Well, and the fact that
suck.
The fact that we get copyright claims on news clips, like the media is so afraid of censorship, and they want, free press and all of this and all of that.
So now, like every time we do a news clip, I have to like blur it out or something.
No, it's the audio gets recognized.
Oh, like I can tweak the audio.
It's annoying.
That section,
because we're actually talking about the news clip itself and giving credit. Every time I read an article, we give credit to who wrote it, give credit to who published it.
Yeah. Actually, I think like on a lot of those, you can go through and claim them as fair. You can go through and click on them and mark them down as fair use.
Okay.
And
I don't know much about that side of it, so
I usually don't bother with it because you don't want to like fight stuff and then lose that battle, because then it goes like it can go against you.
Right.
So it depends.
Yeah, I leave it all alone.
It depends on what it is, and like the way I look at it is like if we have maybe 1 out of every 10 video, 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 videos that gets these weird claims, with the rate that we're uploading stuff, especially if it's claims on videos that aren't doing really well.
Right.
Like And right now we're not monetized anyway, so it's not. What's the point of fighting those things?
Yeah. I don't want to fight them anyways. That to me, just having
Eventually
the
we
material
will.
there, yeah,
Eventually we will, but it comes down to like what makes sense.
right. Well, the next piece of news we're going to discuss, I'm going to show you a still image from the video.
Hey, I've used that clip, I think.
No, this is brand new.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So the first thing that comes to mind to me is the intercom system on the Adam Sandler movie. I
do you think it's a cell phone that's on the wall?
over. That's a doorbell.
I know, but does he think it's a cell phone? Like, is he putting his head there like it's a cell phone?
I'm not quite sure.
Is that one of those like newer doorbells with the
intercom system?
Like the ones that connect to your cell phone?
I have no idea.
Usually those are a different shape, but
So to get into the article, though, you're going to be like, what the fuck? The headline is, and this was, this article is by, oh, they even gave credit to Adam Sandler. They compared it to Adam Sandler in their news clip. So that's exactly what I thought of. I haven't even watched his news clip. I only read the article. This article was by CNN Wire, updated January 8, 2019, posted on January 8, 2019. The headline is Man Spent 3 Hours Licking Doorbell at Stranger's Home, police say. This was in Salinas, California. Police in California are searching for a man who reportedly spent 3 hours licking a doorbell outside a stranger's home.
bath salts.
I thought I've seen it all, but this takes the case, neighbor Alfredo Santos told KION. Surveillance video caught the suspect, identified as 33-year-old Roberto Daniel Arroyo, in the act early Saturday morning. The homeowners, Dave and Sylvia Dungan, said they were out of town during the bizarre incident, but their kids were inside sleeping. Police say the family's newly installed security system helped them identify the suspect. We were pleasantly surprised the image was so clear. It didn't take us long to identify the individual, said Miguel Cabrera, Salinas Police Department spokesperson. Security cameras also captured Arroyo moving an extension cord to the front yard and relieving himself, police said. This just kind of reinforces how important it is to have security within your home, Dugan said. You kind of laugh about it afterwards because technically he didn't harm anybody. Arroyo could face 2 misdemeanor charges for petty theft and prowling upon arrest.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Just checking the levels. Probably pull your mic down a little bit. I mean, it's not distorting, but it's, I don't know, weird. Anyway, continue.
No, that's it. I mean,
So they haven't
You
found
know what?
the guy yet?
I got to do it, dude.
They haven't.
No, not
found
yet.
the-
Apparently. But we're just going to do it. I'm going to say F it.
Well, just mute the audio of that clip. No, just keep that music playing. And then just mute the audio of whatever the clip is. So.
But now
To show it longer, like licking the clip.
Three hours.
Dude, how high are you, bro?
3 hours of licking the doorbell. You know what's funny? Women all over the place are going to watch this video and go, he's got skill.
I don't know about that.
La, 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 la.
He seems a little sloppy with it. It's kind of all over. He's missing the spot. He's all over the
3
place.
hours.
I mean, maybe he's just practicing.
Who sits here and licks,
He's just practicing. He's like, okay, I know my own doorbell. I know where it is, but I need to go find other doorbells that are different so that like I can practice on different environments. So when I get in the real situation with a woman, I'm experienced. So this is maybe what he's doing. He's just taking his game to another level. He's diversifying his skills.
Something.
He wants to put in the 10,000 hours.
Something. I don't get it.
10,000
Doesn't
hours,
make
bro.
any sense
Well,
to
he
me.
did that for three hours, right?
Yeah.
So
3 hours straight, licking the doorbell.
he only has 9,997 more hours to go. You, sir, will be an expert.
I guess.
And the world's strongest tongue.
Although whatever he was
Probably
on,
the dirtiest tongue, too.
probably dirtiest. Whatever he was on that made him do that, he's probably going to forget about doing any of that.
Oh, no, he'll know now because he's on the news.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Well, could you imagine being in jail for that? Like, imagine, like... like, what are you in here for? Licking
I licked
doorbells?
the doorbell. Got caught on video.
What do you mean, like, hours?
Maybe he identifies as a finger. Ding, 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 ding.
His tongue identifies as a finger.
His tongue identifies as a finger.
He was just trying to get their attention.
Yeah.
I think we should be his lawyer.
I'm not doing it, dude. That's all you. All you.
As long as you hold the video camera.
Shit, I knew you were going to rope me into this somehow. So, published on January 8th, updated on January 8th in the Willamette Week, local newspaper in Portland. The headline reads, Electronic Show revokes award for Oregon State University designed what? What? Electronic Show revokes award for Oregon State University designed.
No idea.
Sex toy for women.
I was gonna say a sex toy thing. I really was. I was picturing like it has to be like some ridiculous thing, but
There it is. The quote says, you cannot pretend to be unbiased if you allow a sex robot for men, but not a vagina-focused robotic massager for blended orgasm. And the article reads, this was written by Elise Heron, an orgasm robot designed for women with the help of engineers at Oregon State University was just stripped, probably no pun intended, of an award by the Consumer Technology Association. Now the Smart Vibrators organ founder is crying foul, TechCrunch first reported. In October, Laura DiCarlo, the Bend-based company behind the product called OC, was notified it had won an innovation award at CTA's Consumer Electronics Show. Wow. According to the company's website, OC is the world's first hands-free device for the holy grail of orgasms, the blended orgasm. The technology, quote, mimics all of the sensations of a human mouth, tongue, and fingers for an experience that just feels like the real partner, unquote. But a month after being selected as an awards honoree in the robotics and drone product category, CTA board members told Lori DiCarlo they had changed their minds about the recognition. According to CTA spokesperson Sarah Brown, the award was revoked because OC does not fit any of CTA's existing product categories. CTA has communicated this position to Laura DiCarlo. Brown writes in an email to Willamette Week, we have apologized to the company for our mistake. Lori Haddock, the company's founder, calls the move an act of gender bias. She noted in an open letter that similar products like sex dolls for men and virtual reality porn programs have exhibited at CES in years past. You cannot pretend to be unbiased if you allow a sex robot for men but not a vagina-focused robotic massager for blended orgasm, Haddock writes. She says in an original email from the event organizers justified the award revocation by saying the clitoris and the G-spot stimulator broke the show's rules. Entries deemed by CTA in their sole discretion to be immoral, obscene, indecent, profane, or not in keeping with CTA's image will be disqualified, the email allegedly read. Brown declined to comment on whether OC was disqualified because board members found it profane. Instead, she provided a link to the CES Innovation Awards selection criteria. The explanation does not fly with Haddock. There's an obvious double standard when it comes to sexuality and sexual health, Haddock writes. While there are sex and sex health products at CES, it seems that CES/CTA administration applies the rules differently for companies and products based on the gender of their customers.
Ooh.
Get it. Your phone speaker from the mic.
For a hassle-free quote, press 1 to speak to a licensed insurance agent, or press 2 to be added to the Do Not Call list.
Do I really want to press 1?
Throw a grenade or you shoot the core a lot, and then it blows up. Instead of doing that, because there's a lot of elite, there's a lot of grunts, there's a lot of...
You don't even say hello? Like, that was clearly a person back there.
Did they just hang up?
Yeah. Like, I could hear, background noise from, like, their call center. Man, they are so damn lazy.
Very lazy.
Like, how are they getting paid?
Hourly,
No, they're not selling.
obviously.
But they're not selling anything. So how are they making any money to?
They're probably not getting commission. They just get flat hourly, and that's it.
How do you have a job? Because I know when I've worked in call centers, they listen to what you do,
Yeah.
and like every time they call us, it's always a hang up. Like, what are you doing? You suck at your job. Anyway, continue.
To backtrack a little bit, while there are sex and sexual health products at CES, it seems that CES/CTA administration applies the rules differently for companies and products based on the gender of their customers. She continues, men's sexuality is allowed to be explicit with a literal sex robot in the shape of an unrealistically proportioned woman at VR porn, and VR porn, in point of pride along the aisle. Female sexuality, on the other hand.
I was going to say, isn't that your sex robots and stuff?
Yeah.
Like at these CES and other places, like.
But everything is
why are you
geared-
offended by like a vibrator?
No, everything is geared towards men.
Why?
And so now that there's something that's geared towards women and the ultimate orgasm for women, it's not being regarded
Who
in
is
the same
offended by
categories.
that? If you're gonna have like essentially naked female bodies on display,
Right.
you're offended by a alien shaped vibrator?
Right. So clearly there is some bias. So she continues, men's sexuality is allowed to be explicit with a literal sex robot. I read that part, but in the shape of an unrealistically proportioned woman and VR porn in point of pride along the aisle. Female sexuality, on the other hand, is heavily muted, if not outright banned. With the help of OSU's Robotics Engineering Lab, the company had applied for 8 patents in robotics and biomimicry. OC will likely be released later this year. And fellas, it's the end of the world as you know it. It's the end of the world as you know it.
Facts.
Yep.
I mean, those things have already kind of like existed. So I'm not really worried about it.
Man, we have a
It's-
whole
it's
bunch of
when
people
they
that
have-
are watching us, but they're muted.
Yeah, don't mute your shit, bros and broettes. Come on. I know you can't hear me because you haven't muted, but there's a whole bunch of people there.
That's heartbreaking because it says we have 5 viewers, but if you look at our list, there's a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29. So it says we have 29 people watching, but they must be muted. Please do not mute your lurk. It does not count as a view.
Yep.
So do not mute Twitch. If you're watching somebody for lurks and if you're just trying to get some view support, you're tuning in, do not mute it on Twitch. Turn your computer volume down, turn your device volume down, but do not mute Twitch because it does not count as a view if you do.
This?
A lot of people did. I didn't know that until about a month ago. It's pretty common knowledge. But it's
Son of a monkey.
there's a lot of rules that are uncommon on Twitch that are weird.
It kind of just makes sense to me, but
Yeah.
whatever. What do I know?
Moving right along in Canadian news. Shameful day for Canada. First Nations encampment violently raided. Land protectors are arrested. Is this normal way to respond to Indigenous people who are peacefully protesting their drinking water from fracking pipelines? More than 50 protests have been planned for across the globe on Tuesday in solidarity with the First Nations group fighting against the construction of Trans-Canada's coastal gas link through unceded Wet'suwet'en territory. Hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. With a number of protests rising overnight after Canadian police broke down a checkpoint gate erected by Indigenous land protectors and arrested more than a dozen people. Reacting to footage of the invasion by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, author and activist Naomi Klein said it was a shameful day for Canada, which has marked itself as a progressive leader on climate and Indigenous rights. Klein condemned the government's raid on unceded Wet'suwet'en territory and the arrest of First Nations land defenders, all for a gas pipeline that is entirely incompatible with a safe climate. People at the Gittimet and camp have been anticipating the arrival of the RCMP, who are enforcing a BC Supreme Court injunction that came last month in response to another camp on the territory formed by another Wet'suwet'en clan, the Unist Ot-En, in opposition to the fossil fuel company's proposed route for the fracked gas pipeline. Camp members faced both uniformed RCMP and camouflage-wearing emergency response team tactical unit officers through the barbed wire. According to the Toronto Star, police climbed a ladder over the top of the gate, circumventing a secondary blockade formed by the bodies of the camp members themselves. Then they began to arrest people. The Mounties established a temporary exclusion zone and said in a statement that there are both privacy and safety concerns in keeping the public and the media at the perimeter, which should be as small as possible and as brief as possible in the circumstances based on security and safety needs. The statement noted that during the arrest, the RCMP observed a number of fires being lit along the roadway by unknown persons and large trees felled across its roadway. Journalists and supporters of the land defenders posted updates from the scene to social media and called out the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau for the clear contrast between his claims that he wants to build a legacy of reconciliation with the First Nations and how his government has responded to objections from the Wet'suwet'en people over the pipeline. As Common Dreams reported Monday, although TransCanada claims it has signed agreements with First Nations leaders along the pipeline routes, Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs were not consulted and say that those who signed off on the pipeline, which is set to cut through the traditional lands, were not authorized to do so under Indigenous laws. Basically the same thing that was happening in Flint, Michigan.
Yep, sounds like it.
And South Dakota, North Dakota, South Dakota. Government's taking away any power from the people.
It's pretty much a standard SOP across the globe.
Yep. That's the way it happens.
If you're gonna do that, you gotta like march in much larger numbers. Like if you showed up to like protest with 200,000 people, it's not a whole lot that they could do to you. I mean, other than like bring an airstrike in, but
yeah, but at the same time, a bunch of people versus a handful of trained officers is a different case.
well,
I remember the anti-pipeline stuff that was going on in was in North Dakota or South Dakota last year. There was literally 150,000 people that was overtaken by 200 officials.
How do you let that happen? You just overpower them.
They'd come in, take a group to jail, come in, get the next group, take them to jail.
That's the problem. Is they're shitty organized. If you're
Right.
if you're letting yourself be separated, you're a dumbass.
Well, the thing
why
is,
you
they didn't want to get violent with the officials because they were afraid of getting bigger charges. I'm sure.
But if you just overrun them and you just take them hostage, I mean, like, I'm not saying do this.
In theory, it should work.
I'm just saying, like, in reality, if you have 10 people per officer, you just overrun them. I don't care like how trained the officer is.
But the officer has more than 10 bullets.
That's true, but like, I doubt they're just gonna run. Is what'll happen.
Right.
They're not gonna like pull out their gun and just start gunning people down, because that would be really dumb.
Right.
So what you do, people, is you wear bulletproof vests. That's a really
some tear gas masks.
Some really expensive marching there. Yeah, I'm not saying that you do that, but
I think we need to keep this thing rolling in just chatting category.
why?
Because 5 viewers is killing us right
I
now.
have 9 viewers.
Whoa. I just said 5.
It
like
just
a
keep,
second ago.
it's bumping
It's so
up
weird.
back and forth.
His viewer counts are do. So the next story is Denver could become, and this is because we've been talking about it on a regular basis so far on Funkshop TV. Denver could become the first U.S. city to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms.
See, I have no excitement regarding that, but I totally think it should be legal.
Basic Kills, what up? Thanks for hanging out on Funkshop TV. The article reads, Denver, Colorado could become the first U.S. city to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms after a campaign gathered enough signatures to put a magic mushrooms measure on the ballot for the municipal elections in May. Kevin Matthews, the campaign director of Denver for what is that word? Psilocybin?
Yes.
Psilocybin?
P-S-I-L-O-C-Y-B-I-N?
P-S-I-L-O-C-Y-B-I-N?
You think you said
Psilocybin?
no, the first time you said
Psilocybin?
Yeah, you're
Anyways,
almost
Kevin
saying
Matthews, the campaign director of Denver for psychedelic mushrooms, told the local news outlet NBC9 that more than 8,000 people signed off on advancing the measure, which needed 4,279 signatures to proceed. The city's election office has 25 days to verify the signatures' legitimacy. The measure, containing language based on a 2007 effort that decriminalized recreational marijuana in Denver, would not legalize hallucinogenic mushrooms, which contain psilocybin as an active ingredient. The ordinance would, however, make the use and possession of psilocybin by people above age 21 the city's lowest law enforcement priority, NBC9 reported. Magic mushrooms are currently classified as a Schedule 1 drug, a category that the federal government uses for substances that have no medical benefit. Cocaine and heroin are both considered Schedule 1 drugs.
But mushrooms do have medical benefits.
Such as?
I don't know off the top of my head. Specifically.
And are they proven or is it speculated?
Pretty sure they're proven.
If you're an expert on
remember
psilocybin,
I don't remember.
shoot us an email at funkshoptv@gmail.com so we can get you on the show.
I remember other things I've watched talking about the benefits of it and like helping. I think one of the things, if I remember right, was it was either this or it was another compound that's similar. Help people quit addiction.
Okay. Psilocybin was used to help people quit.
I think it was psilocybin. It might have been. It could have been. What's the other one? There's another substance that does a very similar effect to your body, but crap. It's on the tip of my fucking tongue. It's often found like in like South America, like tribes and stuff use it. It's like another. It's not a mushroom, but it's another hallucinogen like that kind of like takes you on a spiritual journey.
Okay.
I forget what it's called, but I think maybe even both of them have a similar effect as far as like
Probably.
helping quit addictions. Like people would literally like just stop after like one use of these things. Like if they were addicted to like coke or addicted to meth or addicted to whatever, cigarettes, stuff like that, and they're trying to quit and their goal was to quit, they would do these things, and afterwards they just were like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Huh.
So
Yeah,
it was like an
I've
80 or 90%.
never heard of that, but
80 or 90% like success rate.
wow.
According to studies, they did it like there was some studies like in overseas, like in like
I'm
Iceland
gonna look
and
it up
stuff.
because I want to know.
I think it was Iceland, or Finland, or someplace over there. They were talking about it on Joe Rogan. I watch a lot of that damn show. It's a lot of good information, but to try to remember every little detail is so freaking hard because it's just
According to evolveandascend.com, come on and load. Top 7 amazing health benefits of psilocybin mushrooms. Psilocybin mushroom health benefit number 1: it stimulates growth of new brain cells.
that would make sense.
Published in 2013, studied the effects of psilocybin mushrooms on fear-conditioned mice, What they discovered startled them. The main ingredients in psilocybin mushrooms, psilocybin, empowered the mice to get over their fear and promoted new neurons, growth, and regeneration in the brains. Study leader Dr. Bryony Catlow of the Lieber Institute for Brain Development had a few things to declare after the study. Quote, memory, learning, and the ability to relearn that a once threatening stimuli is no longer a danger absolutely depends on the ability of the brain to alter its connections. We believe that neuroplasticity plays a critical role in psilocybin accelerating fear extinction. It is highly possible that in the future we will continue these studies since many interesting questions have come up from these experiments. The hope is that we can extend the findings to humans in clinical trials.
That would be a super beneficial thing. I mean, think of like people that like are just afraid of. They have weird things that they're afraid of that like that cripple them in everyday life.
Right, they hold them back from
whatever it might
engaging
be.
in whatever.
There's 1,000 different things they could be afraid of that are like holding them back. But if you could teach the brain to get over those fears more effectively,
right,
and this could be a good tool for it potentially.
Now, I could probably handle the tea, but I cannot eat mushrooms. I don't care if they're dried and shriveled up or if they're deep fried and breaded and deep fried. I don't eat mushrooms, period. Mushroom fungus. It's gross. I cannot stand it.
I love mushrooms. I've never done these kind of
You're
things.
like, I like mushrooms.
I've eaten mushrooms on my pizza, in my Chinese food.
Can't do it.
No.
Cannot do it. Psilocybin mushroom health benefit number 2, reduces pain due to social rejection. So we know some people that could use some mushrooms right now. We all go through rejection from time to time, right? It is a natural process when it comes to interacting with other individuals. A study performed by a team of Swiss neurobiologists published in April 2016 stated that psilocybin is of great help in reducing the pain resulting from social rejection.
Man, so we should just take all the teenagers and
start putting psilocybin in their chocolate milk in
start
school.
Talking to each other and get quit being hiding in a freaking.
Stop caring so much about what somebody posts on Facebook.
Yeah.
Psilocybin mushroom health benefit number 3, alleviates OCD symptoms. Obsessive compulsive disorder, also known as OCD, is a psychiatric disorder which is occurring especially in patients suffering from schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, and other psychiatric ailments. A study performed by the University of Arizona in 2006 discovered that psilocybin mushrooms are very effective in alleviating the symptoms of this disorder.
Sounds very. I mean, they all seem very related.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah. Well, and on to number 4, it's very relative. Psilocybin mushrooms health benefit number 4, soothes anxiety. Hey, Nolan. In a 2011 study, researchers discovered that advanced stage patients suffering from cancer would have their anxiety soothed and drastically lowered after being administered psilocybin mushrooms. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely related.
Advanced stage patients suffering from cancer had their anxiety soothed, and
yeah, that's like
which could help the body actually kind of fight against cancerous progression.
Probably. And like
Nolan said, that's it. I'm doing shrooms. You know, I'd try them if I could get myself to eat them, but I cannot. You'd have to
they make tea version things you like.
They would have to be in a tea form, and you'd have to add a bunch of flavoring to it. Because if it's anything tastes like mushrooms or dirt, I'm gonna throw it up. Psilocybin mushroom health benefit number 5, lowers depression. Studies have shown that psilocybin mushrooms are effective at treating depression very effectively, as well as treating post-traumatic stress disorder.
Actually, that was one of the things. Now that you say that, that was one of the things I remember watching about one of the benefits of it. Like giving it to, I think they were giving it to people returning from like war and stuff, and it was like greatly beneficial for them. So, anyway.
You know, I know some people that do shrooms, and they seem like they're the most schizophrenic people I know, but maybe they're schizophrenic when they're not doing shrooms.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe they've done so many of them that they have to have shrooms in their system to not.
I know some of these compounds, like, it's helpful to have somebody with you. Like, obviously everybody's brain chemistry is different. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, you're going to have, like, oddball cases of stuff, but
I am an oddball case when it comes to stuff like this.
I think if like you have a guide to help you through like your trip, essentially, I think that's part of like what one of the things that they were studying is like having that assistance to help you through it, guide you through it, so that you come out there and more balanced. Like,
so if you eat mushrooms, it's going to go through your digestive system and come out your asshole more balanced.
No, I meant mentally balanced.
I know. Usually come out the other end, so I just kind of I had to roll with it.
Yeah,
you know, because it's Funkshop TV and that's what we do here. Number 6, psilocybin mushrooms health benefit. Number 6, long-term medical and spiritual benefits. There was a famous study done at Johns Hopkins University which left researchers stunned. Out of 36 test subjects, a third said that their experience was the most significant and spiritual experience of their lives, while over 2/3 stated it was definitely in the top 5 most significant life experiences. Here's what Dr. Roland Griffiths from Johns Hopkins University has to say about the healing power of psilocybin mushrooms. Psilocybin is an amazing tool for unlocking the mysteries of human consciousness. The core feature of this mystical experience is a strong sense of interconnectedness to all things, a rising sense of self-confidence, clarity and communal responsibility, altruism, and social justice. Understanding the nature of these effects and their consequences may very well be the key to survival of the human species.
What's interesting?
Hey, Jeff in the box, what up?
What's up, Jeff in the box?
Sean has 2 names because Josh is not with us today. Usually it's Sean and Josh, or Josh and Sean sitting next to each other. And I don't want to keep deleting the name and re-adding it all the time.
Right. Real quick, I can like when you're talking about the benefits. What like how did you put that again? Read that last part again, or the benefits to their.
Psilocybin is an amazing tool for unlocking the mysteries of human consciousness. The core feature of this mystical experience is a strong sense of interconnectedness to all things, a rising sense of self-confidence, clarity and communal responsibility, altruism and social justice. Understanding the nature of these effects and their consequences may very well be the key to survival of the human species.
So basically, you look at the world in like a better light. You kind of like get your own life, your past, your future, it just gives you a better outlook on life. It's kind of just a real sum up of what you just said, essentially.
Jeff in the box said, "Ooh, I jumped in on a great topic."
And I can say that I can relate to that, not through mushrooms, but the one time that I did like a super uber duber dab hit and like went into like highness for like 12 hours of like where I thought I was like dying, and I thought my life was just a flashback of my life in a sense. Like I remember basically like remembering my whole life like in a bunch of like flash scenes, like, you know, the whole thing of like, because I was watching TV, there was this bright light, and between that and like being so high and then remembering memories, and it was like I felt at ease, like I felt like I was dying, like I was like, oh, this is what it's like to die. But then it gave me this like calming like effect that it was like, oh, I don't know. When I came out of it, I just felt like life changing, kind of like looking back. What?
That was when
I like did a dab hit, like, but like way too much, like a week's worth in like one hit.
So THC kind of gave you the same.
Yeah,
same
like
effect?
a super high very high dosage, and
the high concentration.
Obviously, I think that's kind of just because it was like that first level of that kind of high. Like obviously, if I did that again, my body would become
immune to it.
Yeah, it would normalize. But being the first time, it's that kind of euphoric feeling of like looking back at your life, looking at everything, and you like come out of it with a whole new perspective and balance. I felt like after doing it, so I can totally like kind of gain or kind of understand relate to that statement, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, not that I plan on ever doing mushrooms, but I can relate. And I think
You will
it's
someday.
beneficial. No, I don't think so.
I think so.
I doubt it.
Jeff in the box said it's the same way with LSD or MDMA in micro doses.
MDMA, that's the other one I was thinking. The other compound.
Also the same with DMT.
Yeah, DMT.
I thought DMT and MDMA were essentially the same thing, but I don't know enough about it to make a statement like that. So don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Psilocybin mushrooms health benefit number 7, connecting the brain in new ways. Functional MRIs performed during the psychedelic experience induced by psilocybin mushrooms, suggest that these magic mushrooms wire different parts of the brain together, facilitating a much smoother communication between its various parts. The study was published in the Royal Society Interface, and the images look like this. There's a link that can show you. Research.
Jeff said way different. Jeff in the box said way different.
Okay. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. I'm ignorant when it comes to stuff like that because I've never tried any of this stuff. I don't want to, and I'll explain why in a minute. Research is only starting to timidly grasp the immense healing potential of these magic mushrooms. In the future, we will definitely witness more and more examples of medical and wellness applications for this ancient medicine. So, back to the original story. Denver may become the first city to legalize it, basically, or decriminalize.
The mushroom thing?
Yeah. Denver could
Oregon's-
become the first U.S. city to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms. That's what the headline is. I know Portland's working on it as well. Oregon, period. I would rather see a city decriminalize it or free it up than a whole state at one time, just so you could compare that city with the rest of the outlying areas 2 years down the road. As far as mental application, see what the actual...
My only thought behind that is you're going to have a weird... Because of population density, and so you like in big cities, you have that attracts certain types of people, like people that are you're not gonna have like people that are mentally crazy or that have like that are homeless slash they're not the norms. You know what I mean? So you go to like rural communities, you don't have like you don't have generally any homelessness or very little of it, and you don't generally have like crazy people walking the streets, like people that are like just not there at all.
Okay.
Those people are generally in bigger cities because
Right.
they're just attracted to that type of place.
Well, it's easier to panhandle when you have a lot of people walking around in a congested area.
Yeah, and like there's more interaction. Like there's a lot of reasons, social
Right.
reasons for it. So I don't think comparing only because of comparing those type of places, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to be it's like comparing completely different things that don't relate in a way. I mean, you have people, but the types of people that would be that you would have more often using it are those. You'll find like homeless people, you'll find crazy people doing different drugs just because that's what they do. You know what I mean? So
There's a lot of reasons. But.
yeah, so I think you'd have definitely a skewed kind of information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same token, I would love to see like a city, say if Denver and Portland were comparable.
Okay. Yeah. That would make sense.
That's what I meant. Not necessarily Denver versus the rest of Colorado.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it happen within a smaller area, just to compare it to, 2 years down the road. How are test scores comparing? How is crime rate comparing? How is compassion for the general humanity comparing? And not that it would ever happen or it's feasible. It would just be interesting.
I mean, it's feasible to probably do a study. Like you could probably take universities in both those areas.
That's what a lot of
do
the
studies.
reasons that I just read have done. I would just like to see it done on a bigger scale. Jeff in the box said DMT is naturally accruing chemical in the brain. It's what is released when you dream. It's called the dream drug. But DMT is also found in plant.
Isn't it also called the God particle or something? No, that's something else. Never mind.
It's also found in plant, and that's what people use. So,
yeah.
I'm personally, I wouldn't indulge in any of these just because I do not like what happens to me when I'm high with THC. I can't stand it.
I think some of it. I think some of it's different, like the way you behave. Like I think so when
all of us as humans, our neurons fire in different ways.
Yeah.
Pathologically, we are not the same. That's why humanity is the most advanced animal on this planet. Because
so much diversity.
When my pistons are firing a certain way, your pistons are firing a different way, but yet we can collaborate them to create a big picture. DMT is a 30-second to a minute trip. That's still...
I thought there was like a longer version of DMT, like a 15-minute one. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. There's a lot of weird chemicals now, like they're not like new, but they're...
When I've been high
weird things
on marijuana, I've tried to fight people. Like, I've tried to fight best friends with the intent of literally hurting them. And I remember this. There was one time that I got high, and my friends ended up having to tackle me on the living room floor, put me in handcuffs until I passed out. So when I woke up, my arms, I could hardly move because my arms were stiff from being locked in handcuffs behind my back, and I was covered in rug burns because I was rolling all over the floor trying to get out of the handcuffs.
It also might have to do with like the type of weed that you had. Like,
yeah.
It also might have to do with the like. So I know for a fact, like when I've gotten like super high from weed, like really high, like there was no way I was fighting anybody. I couldn't even like figure out how to move my mouth to talk, let alone stand up and walk. That just wasn't happening.
Right.
So I think it also has to do with levels, the type. There's a lot of factors. Maybe your mental state before doing it. You know what I mean?
I'm such an analytical person. I want to try to be in control of my surroundings at all times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So when I start feeling like I'm losing that control, it pisses me off. That I've been high maybe half a dozen times, and every single time I've gotten super, super pissed off.
I'm not saying you should like go get high.
And I won't. That's exactly why I won't. The last time I tried edibles was a few years ago. And I got some really strong edibles from a mutual friend of ours. Yes. And I took a little tiny piece. And it wasn't enough to make me, over the edge high, but it was enough to where my body could feel it. And Adam was here. And Adam, who functions much better when he's blazed than when he's not. And I know numerous people that are like that. But Adam was here, and he was like, man, I'm going to bed because you're being a dick. I was angry. I was being an asshole. That's what happens to me when I'm under the influence of THC. So that's why I won't do it.
What about not THC, but the other one?
CBDs?
CBD, yeah.
So I used CBD tincture after a car wreck because I didn't want to take opiates anymore for my back pain, and it was lovely. It definitely helped with the back pain.
Did you have the same mental effect?
No, not at all.
So the THC
CBDs to me were like popping a Vicodin.
Okay, so THC gives you a more like
anxiety.
Is it anxiety that you describe it as?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jeff in the box said DMT is a white crystalline powder that is found in certain plants in Mexico, South America, and parts of Asia. Its street names are Dimitri, Fantasia, Businessman's Trip, Businessman Special, and 45-Minute Psychosis. Because it's a naturally occurring psychedelic substance, trace amounts of DMT can actually be found in mammals' brains. It is the strongest of all psychedelic drugs and is sometimes referred to as entheogen, a word that means God generated within.
Okay,
the drugs,
that's what
chemicals, root. I'm sure he's typing more.
That's super awesome that you gave us like that information. It's super cool to talk to people that have like
Jeff engages in Funkshop TV a lot.
Oh, does he? Okay.
He's a smart guy. I like him. I appreciate him here.
Cool.
So I just made him a VIP status. Gave him a little diamond next to his name.
Woohoo!
Because I like him. Jeff's a good guy. As far as I know.
And I'm sure other people appreciate that information too. I'll be right back. Ow. My knees been bothering me.
Maybe you need some CBDs your life? I think he has a torn butthole, ladies and gentlemen. Turn our music player up since we're not talking right now. Depending on the user, the experience of taking the drug can be overwhelmingly exciting or extremely frightening. The trip can be so powerful that users may have a difficult time incorporating the experience into their real life after the moment has passed. The mental side effects associated with the drug can linger for days or even weeks after ingestion. And I think I'd be one of those guys. Like, because of what THC does to me and how it affects my brain and mental stability, I think if I tried anything else, it would make it 10 times worse.
It also could like make you look at the world better too, in some ways.
It
You
could,
never know.
and I'm not going to deny that, but to me, it's not worth the risk.
I hear you. Yeah, I have a
Because
torn.
when I'm high on THC, I want to kill somebody. Like, literally, if we were in public and a police officer was harassing you, I would tell the police to fuck off, and I would get in the police face until he pulled the gun and shot me. And I could see that. I could very realistically see that happening if I'm high on THC.
Yeah, I have a partially torn MCL, so in my right knee. So sometimes my right knee gets a little unstable. I've had it for years now, unfortunately. So
Word.
So
not
like I
marrying
couldn't
you.
play football unless I had that fixed. I shouldn't play football unless I had that fixed. I should say.
Much better to be safe than sorry, and that's why I'd rather be the babysitter. So if everybody else wants to try something, I'll be the person that has to hang on to you and pin you down if it comes down to it, but I'm going to do it sober. I've been sober for over 3 years now, and I like it.
Yep. I'm usually sober most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't really get drunk or all that often.
You're definitely not like the daily lush, but I've seen you turn up a time or two.
I mean, yeah, of course. You got
It's
to
funny.
do that a few times.
It's funny. Until he starts crying sitting in the backseat of your car over something so fucking trivial.
Yeah, you know.
I don't even remember what it was, dude. You were just like, you were laughing and crying at the same time, and you're like, it's just, we need to go back. I think it was over a homeless person downtown Vancouver coming out of queue. Because you
Was
wanted
I was I on or coming off steroids at that point
yes,
in time?
and
Okay,
you were high, and you were drunk as sin.
Oh, okay. So that definitely.
So you're like, let's go buy us some food. We need to go get him some blankets.
I don't remember that.
Oh
So-
my God, I will never forget it.
That's hilarious.
I will never forget it. Like, you kept trying to get out of the truck. I kept trying to push you in. Justin's trying to hold you in.
So like the hormonal imbalance at that point in time was the
Jeff said he's
emotional
only
part?
sober on days that end with a Z.
What?
Jeff said, I'm only sober on days that end with a Z.
There's a lot of those.
A whole lot of none. But
Yeah.
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 To each their own, man. I'm not one to judge. As long as you're not driving under the influence, I don't care.
True
As long
story.
as you're not endangering other people's lives, do whatever you want.
I will. I'm gonna get bits.
Get bits and kibbles and bits. What were you gonna say?
I don't know.
Coming down off of steroids?
Oh, just
on a
that
cycle.
emotional side of it, as opposed to the
Your
The-
estrogen testosterone imbalance?
yeah, and then like the drunk side of it would be the irrational side of thing, like or the
I'm all for people smoking weed. I just can't do it.
the I don't know, the lack of great choice making, I guess, and like not remembering it, definitely. Well, yeah, it's I didn't have any estrogen blockers, so That's what.
I remember a few times you got emotional, but that one time when you were drunk, like
Ask
I
Josh.
will never forget it.
Next time Josh is here, ask Josh like how I was crying in the truck. Like, and what's interesting about that is like you realize how irrational you were being, but it's like this whelming. The hormones are flooding your body so much that like there's not a lot you can do about it. So like I was literally crying that like I was parked too close to. Didn't park straight or something, or we were too close to the median. Like I was like driving, just bawling like about like literally being too close to the median. And Josh is like, "What the fuck, bro?" It was actually hilarious looking back on it.
Good morning, Duane Johnson.
Josh is like, "Damn, bro."
You just put yourself out there.
And then and I'd be so I'd cry about it, and then I'd start laughing at myself crying about it.
Well, and the funny thing about you, dude,
all over the place.
when you laugh and when you cry, it's almost the same sound.
Almost.
Like, it's so fucking. I can't explain it, but it is almost the same sound.
Yeah, like when I'm like laughing super, super hard, like I will like this high pitch like giggle. yeah. If it's like super funny. Yeah.
Next time you are in one of those uncontrollable laughs, dude, I'm recording it. I'm just going like, keep laughing, keep laughing.
Because that's what is funny more than
It is
anything.
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
We are in Vancouver, Washington. Straight out of Kentucky. Literally about 5 minutes away from Portland, Oregon.
True story.
So the next piece of news, because we have to dive in and do a little bit every day, about this immigration debacle, the Great Wall debacle. Jeff, where are you from? Obviously, you're in one of the legal weed states, if we're not too far from you.
So probably Seattle, maybe be my guess.
I'm going to say Tri-Cities. Either Tri-Cities or Bend, Oregon. I know they're far away from each other, but I'm just guessing. I'm going to throw a rock, see where it lands.
Truth.
On the next article, your fact-checking cheat sheet for Trump's immigration address. So last night, Trump had this speech. Oh, Lewiston, Idaho. Clarkston,
Washington area?
Clarkston.
You live in like both places?
Lewiston, isn't that northern Idaho?
I don't know.
Kind of Coeur d'Alene-ish?
No idea. I don't even know where
Spokane-ish?
Clarkston, Washington area is.
Clarkston. Yeah, I don't know where Clarkston's at. I knew it was Clarkston. I was just making fun of you. Making fun of the typing. That was the THC typing. Lower. So halfway down. Not Boise. I've been to Boise and Moscow numerous times. I did a show in Moscow with Quiet Riot. Imagine that.
I don't know who Quiet Riot is.
Yeah, you do, bro.
Do I?
That 80s hair band. Come on, feel the noise.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. 80s hair band. Somebody hired me to go out there and DJ as people were coming in for a Quiet Riot show.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. I played a lot of Def Leppard and, pulled together every butt rock record I could find to take it out there. I'm like, dude, I'm a hip-hop DJ. You want me to open for Quiet Riot? What the fuck is wrong with you?
I feel like those...
okay, Moscow's 30 minutes away, so...
Those... I mean... I don't think there's that much difference between them and hip-hop as far as, like, the rhythm.
No, but as far as their fans...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Huge difference.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to go into a Quiet Riot, even though it's retro. I'm not going to go DJ for Quiet Riot fans and play a bunch of Cool Mo D and
Oh, no, for sure.
LL Cool J.
I mean, I think you should play... Yeah, you should play definitely some LL Cool J. For sure.
So President Trump did an address last night.
Oh.
Moscow.
I used to live in Spokane.
I've done numerous shows in Spokane too. President Trump will be speaking from the Oval Office tonight. This is yesterday, obviously. to make the case for the $5.7 billion to start building a wall along the southern U.S. border. The crux of the funding impasse with Congress that has led to a partial government shutdown. Here are the fact checker. We already have a pretty good sense of the claims he will make, as the president has and his aides have been using them for weeks. This must be Dad. So Hartman gets emails from the Trump campaign addressed to his friend Fred Flintstone. Yesterday, before last night's speech, the email called for Trump's people to be patriotic and donate $5 for the wall. Isn't there enough of that going on in that damn GoFundMe? I guess if Trump takes the donations specifically for the wall, they can go towards the wall. So now he's trying to get his minions to be patriotic. But he also said if you're against the wall, you're a criminal. So here's the fact checker. We already have a pretty good sense of the claims he will make, as the president and his aides have been using them for weeks. Here's a guide to 20 possible assertions the president could make tonight so that the readers can follow along as he speaks. You could use these claims to create your own form of a bingo. If you're tempted to create a drinking game, however, we recommend you water down the drinks. The situation along our southern border is a national crisis. By any available measure, there is no new crisis at the border. Apprehensions of people trying to cross the southern border peaked most recently at 1.6 million in 2000 and have been in decline ever since, partially because of technology upgrades, tougher penalties post 9/11, a decline in migration rates from Mexico, and a sharp rise in the number of Border Patrol officers. Customs and Border Protection reported 303,916 apprehensions at the U.S.-Mexico border for fiscal 2017, the lowest in more than 45 years. In fiscal 2018, apprehensions increased to 396,579, but that was less than half the total of 2007. So clearly, by the numbers, and we'll show a little graph for you people that don't listen to numbers and just want pictures. There it is right there. 1960, the year 2000, and where we are now. So between 2000 and 2018, it is a steady dip in southern border apprehensions. And it's not because more people are sneaking through. So if you try to use that as an argument, you're an idiot. Mom said after the speech, an email was sent to those who didn't donate the $5 saying they weren't patriots. Wow! So Donald Trump sent out emails last night before his speech and said in the email, you need to be patriotic and donate $5 for the wall. But after the speech, an email went out that said anybody that didn't donate wasn't a patriot. So if you didn't donate $5 for that wall last night, Sean, you're not patriotic. You hate America.
Trump's an idiot.
Trump is a fucking moron. And I'll say that to his face. There are far more cases of travelers overstaying their visas than southwest border apprehensions. So more people are coming in with visas and staying longer than they're supposed to than we're apprehending at the border. In fiscal 2016, U.S. officials reported 408,870 southwest border apprehensions and 544,676 suspected in-country overstays. For fiscal 2017, the Department of Homeland Security reported 606,926 suspected in-country overstays, which probably includes Melania Trump's family, or twice the number of southwest border apprehensions. Border Patrol ranks boomed in the early 2000s. The number of agents by fiscal year. I'm going to show this graph as well. 1992, we had 4,139 Border Patrol agents. By 2011, we had 21,444 Border Patrol agents. And 2017, we're at 19,437 agents. So we have plenty of Border Patrol agents.
For sure.
So maybe
Too many.
Trump wants to build the wall so he can fire all of the agents. I mean, half of them are government employees, so or probably all of them, 90%. Some are probably independent contractors or privatized companies. But regardless, none of them are probably getting paid right now, even though they still have to report to work, which is a totally different story all on its own. The next myth is the wall will be paid for by the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal. Now, Stuart and I had this big argument the other night. He kept saying this. And I'm like, you're a
Saying
fucking
what?
dipshit.
That Mexico's going to pay
The new
for the wall?
U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal is going to pay for the Mexico wall.
That would assume that Mexico's going to pay, willingly going to pay for it.
Or that whatever we import from Mexico, we're going to tax at such a high rate that tax is going to be able to fund this wall project.
I mean, sure, you could like manipulate numbers around to
Oh, it's got to be Dad.
moving numbers around to pay this, that, whatever. I mean, I guess in some way you could probably make that argument, but
Well, here's
it's kind of that's kind of like that's the same thing as like any business, like where depending on how you sort the numbers out, like and where you pie things off, and like as far as a business owner and going through like numbers,
I can tell it's you, Dad.
we do the same thing as far as we want to pay for something or do something, or how are we going to pay for this, or
Right.
whatever. I mean, I get it, but I mean, as directly as like, oh, we're going to pay.
Well,
for
Dad
the
said,
wall.
LOL, over the list. So I think considering Trump's demeanor last night, he's shaking in his boots because his debts, upcoming legal fees for him and his kids, and after it hits the fan, he may lose his political position and no longer be an asset to Putin and the Saudis, which is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Anybody that's paying attention should know China and Putin are already making deals with one another and not including the UN or anybody else involved. They're making backdoor deals as we speak. Now China is talking about detaining American citizens and calling anybody that comes to China a spy. So be careful if you travel to China. You may not be able to come home. That stuff's already going on. And if people can't see that as a result of Putin starting to turn his back on Trump, you're not paying attention. So according to the wall will be paid by the new U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade deal. This is a for Pinocchio claim. During the campaign, Trump more than 200 times promised Mexico would pay for the wall, which the administration says would cost at least $18 billion. Now he says the minor reworking of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, will earn enough money for pay for the wall. This betrays misunderstanding of economics. Countries do not lose money on trade deficits, so there is no money to earn. The size of a trade deficit or surplus can be determined by other factors besides trade. Congress must still appropriate the money, and the trade agreement has not been ratified. So even if the money shows up by reworking the numbers and replaying with the budgets, Congress still has to appropriate it.
How about we, instead of building a wall, we take that money and put that into NASA? How about that?
Into NASA?
NASA.
I'm okay with that. I would like to see some money go towards the veterans of this
Like-
country and go
yeah, for
towards
sure.
the homeless issue that we have in this country. We
And
need to
some of that
reform
goes
some
in.
laws, because if it's illegal for you to leave your dog in the snow, why isn't it illegal for us to leave people in the snow? You know,
Because people have
dogs are people too.
free will.
I don't care. I don't give a shit.
That's just the argument. Like, oh, you have a choice. You can get out of the snow.
And Dad said, like Joey, prayer patriots, any publicity is more money. That's true, and that's what Trump's doing this all for. The next myth that Trump was probably going to utter in last night's statement, I didn't hear it. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. I have already started building the wall. No, Trump has not started building the wall. Congress only appropriated money for bollard fencing, replacement fencing, or secondary fencing. Trump often refers to a wall that was started in California, but that is simply bollard fencing that had been planned in 2009. This is a very bottomless Pinocchio claim. And Trump says it on a very regular basis. I've already started building a wall. A good wall. A great wall. A very great wall.
What is, like, I want to see these plans for this wall. Is it just like a bigger,
You haven't seen any of
Fence?
them yet?
is it just a bigger fence?
Let me,
I mean, like realistic plans, okay? Like if you're gonna build a wall like the Great Wall of China wall, it's gonna cost a lot more than $16 billion. A lot more.
One of the images.
It's a waste of damn money. Is that like really like what Trump is put out? Or is there somebody
Bro,
just
this was
photoshopped
put on
that?
the Trump Pence. This is actually one
on
of
their website?
Yeah. This
Okay.
is actually one of their designs.
So if you build a wall that big, across the entire border, way more than $16 billion, especially at like government pay wages and like, because I'm pretty sure that would be a prevailing job. The amount of money that would cost, it's probably in the neighborhood of like 40 billion, 50 billion.
And this is another one of the.
Like we could send, how many spaceships can we send to space on that? It'd be
A lot.
Like we could.
How many starving kids in our elementary systems can we feed for
What
that?
a pointless, dumb
All
ass
of
thing.
them.
Like what?
All of them for years.
So there's not that many people.
Jeff said they will have the Mexicans build it. Yeah, right.
So the
Dad said, how about the vets, homelessness, green energy, fight cancer, and opioid addiction? Yeah, so I covered all of that yesterday.
yeah. I mean,
So much that this money could go to.
so the cost of
There's nothing realistic about a wall today.
So if you built a wall, what would the cost be per person that you prevented to come across for X amount of time? You know what I mean? Like
Millions.
so you're gonna spend. Let's just say
Way more than it would.
$500,000 on the low end per person for like, if you average it out for over like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The cost of it, probably in the hundreds of thousands of dollars
I haven't seen
per
bullshit yet, but
person.
I've heard about it. I need to watch it.
per person. Like, what is the point? Like, how does that help you come ahead? How does that benefit financially? As just, if you look at it from a business
There
point
will
of view.
be no, from a business standpoint, there will be no financial gain from this wall anytime in our lifetime or the next 2 generations behind us.
It will break. The wall will literally break down and need. It's like owning a boat.
I'm gonna make myself a note.
This is like
Send
owning a
myself a note
boat.
right now that I need to watch bullshit.
Pouring money. A boat is just a bottomless pit of money. That's all it is.
Yes.
It's like owning a boat, like a giant boat, like owning
Owning a boat.
tanker.
Owning a big boat. Owning a giant boat. That sounded very Trump.
yeah. But it makes no like business sense, which is weird to me. Like how if he's about business and his whole like making
I'm
money.
sure I will love it.
How does he calculate this? Like, is he just not? All of a sudden, he's like, I don't do numbers anymore.
Right.
I just say dumb shit.
Well, and Pops just said it's about keeping out the criminals, according to Trump. But yeah, that's too late. The criminals are already here, and they're in the White House and Congress. They're all over the place.
But like, even take that out, like that.
A hole in the water that sucks up money, and it's just a busted pipeline that we're just going to keep having to funnel money into. What's going to happen when somebody on the other side gets an RPG and decides to start launching rockets into the side of the fucking wall, puts a big hole in it?
By the size of that
How-
wall,
how-
it would
how-
take more than one RPG to probably penetrate it. But
I said keep. Yeah, you can send me a picture, Jeff.
that's just, that would cost so. That's like bigger. That from that image, if you're going off that image, that looks bigger than the Great Wall of China, because the Great Wall of China is not that big. I mean, it's big, but it's not that big, not prospectively, especially height.
Right.
And if you're gonna have to build something that high, it can't be like a foot thick. It's gonna be like probably 20 feet wide, at least minimum, to be stable. Like, I mean, sure, you could kind of build it, but like, why? If you're built, like, it's insane. Like, every bit of like a design like that and like the cost, every bit of it is like
look at this
stupid.
image. This is when he was first talking about prototypes for the wall. They actually built a bunch of sections to see which. So it's like picking out wallpaper for these fucks. I mean,
So it's
these
gonna be
idiots,
that
pardon my
thin?
language. Right. These are all prototype sections.
So, like,
for
every
what
bit of this
potentially
whole
what it could
thing
look
is
like.
retarded. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It's retarded.
Yeah.
Don't be offended. And if you are, too bad.
Here's another idea that somebody put forth, so you could have a walkway down at the bottom of it. For what?
For your border patrol.
For your border patrol to pace, like
like ancient Chinese.
Right. But these
Could give them bows.
here are all going to be solar panels, so we can build the giant wall of solar panels, so we can cut down on our energy crisis, which I could apply to in a certain faction. But when Mexico gets tired of it and starts throwing rocks at the solar panels and none of them work anymore, I mean,
I'm assuming that they're probably gonna like set the wall back some, not right on the border.
so we're going to give Mexico more land.
Well, no, there'll be like a fence. I'm assuming like a smaller fence.
So like
Between
they have in Guantanamo Bay, are we going to fill it with landmines too?
Probably. Wouldn't surprise me.
Dad
But-
said, "You got it, Sean. Almost, but you caught yourself immediately. That's good." Oh, that's retarded. Dad is applauding you for catching yourself with the offensive language.
I didn't know.
Well, you said that's retarded, and then you corrected yourself and said,
Well, I
"Sorry."
didn't
is that
correct
offensive?"
myself. I said it's too bad. You're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like I have no problem using that word because I don't give words magical powers.
Jeff in the box. I really shouldn't show this. You know what? I can doctor this a little bit so Twitch can't get mad at us for doing so. Solar panels, the extraction industry would hate that. Yeah, well,
Speaking of
that's
solar
one
panels,
way that one of Trump's ideas for trying to get liberals behind it.
Let me see if I can find it.
So here's the meme that Jeff just sent. Trump, literally anything, and he could put on his pecker, and his fans will lick it up like dog on a peanut butter. And that is so scarily true. So frighteningly true. Trump fans, like, they're baffled. I'm baffled. I just can't understand the stupidity. I can't understand the ignorance behind the fact that so many people are so blatantly still standing behind this guy like he's some sort of messiah. It's disgusting. It frightens me. It scares me to no end.
I was looking up solar roadways.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I just found a new update article.
Dad says, but I think his base is diminishing, and I like to think that. But I was watching. Jeff Bezos went live this morning from San Antonio with some other officials in Texas, so they were actually walking along border, or discussing border issues, and the fact that they have not personally seen any immigrants crossing the border in months. So building a wall is absolutely pointless. And for everybody that was in there applauding the fact that it wasn't Bezos, it was Beto O'Rourke. For everybody that came in there and was loud and proud here in Idaho, I'm sure it is one of the KKK capitals of this country. For everybody that was in there applauding Beto and what he stands for and his movement as far as the big, great wall debacle is concerned, there were 3 or 4 people that were like Trump 2020. And it was like Russian bots, but it wasn't Russian bots. It was actual American people. You can go look at their Facebook profiles, click on them, and see that they're real people. They're just trolling. Like, if you don't like what Beto has to say, why watch it? Why are you engaging in it?
Mm-hmm.
First of all. Second of all, do these people really think that if they go on, say Bernie Sanders is giving a speech, and it's on Facebook Live, if these people go in there and flood the chat with Trump 2020, do you think that's going to make any single Bernie supporter go, oh, maybe I should support Trump instead?
No.
Fucking idiots! Idiots!
Well, unlikely. But, I mean, I'm sure there'll be probably a couple of dumbasses that will.
Like, what's the mentality behind that? This is not a sports event. This is not a poll as in who's going to win the Super Bowl. This is the United States of America. And if you're not paying attention enough to what's going on to know who's a better candidate for our president and who's a better leader for this country, you are not patriotic. Has nothing to do with whether or not you donated $5 to the wall. It has a lot to do with whether or not you're paying attention. to what's going on.
Yeah, true story.
What is that link for, Sean?
The solar panel roadway.
Oh, okay.
It's a like updated article.
I'm gonna finish this
Yeah,
list and
that's fine.
get into that. The next big lie is the wall will be built by good old American steel companies that were practically out of business. Trump often hypes the impact of his steel tariffs on the steel business. Steel companies were not practically out of business. U.S. Steel has restarted some blast furnaces, and its profits and revenue initially went up, but steel stocks have plunged in recent months as worldwide steel prices have fallen, led by a decline in steel prices in China. Barron's reports that one of 13 stocks in the steel sub-index of the Standard & Poor's 1500 composite, all but one are down year-to-date by an average of nearly 25%. Moreover, even with the domestic steel mills running at 80% capacity, the United States needs to import 30 million tons of steel, Barron's said. Where would that steel come from? Currently, 50% comes from Canada, Brazil, and South Korea. Mexico and Russia supply 9% each. So our steel isn't even being made here.
Why not? Doesn't make any sense. Is it cheaper to ship it?
It's cheaper to import it than to make it here.
Wages.
Wages has a lot to do with it.
Wages are too high here.
That does have a lot to do with it. Also, taxes. These big steel companies can't afford the taxes that they're being charged to stay in business. That has a lot to do with it.
That too. It's our system is so messed up that
it's only designed to benefit the uber rich. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and the uber rich are still going to put their businesses. They're going to import things. They're going to do things to keep
whatever they can do to maximize their profit margin.
Yeah.
Period.
It's like pinching money from something that doesn't have any money.
Right.
It's insane.
You can shake the piggy bank all you want. If there's no coins in it, nothing's coming out. Duane Johnson said, if it's not Trump, it's going to be the next president. Nobody is going to have everyone love them. There is a certain bit of truth to that, but when Barack Obama was president, if he was doing a live thing on Facebook, there wasn't a whole bunch of people that were in opposition even going in and commenting it. They just stayed away from it.
Though I did when I remember seeing a lot of things on like YouTube, like videos and content that people made about Barack. Like there was the devil video. Did you ever see that? Like
no, I saw all of that stuff too.
Millions of comments. Like so, there was like interaction. It just was in a different platform.
Right. Well, they kept to themselves, which is fine.
Kind of.
You know, I don't care if Trump supporters can be on Trump videos and Trump Facebook blogs and Trump vlogs all day long. I don't care.
But
trying to go on a video of somebody that's opposing Trump just to put Trump 2020 and scroll and be a troll. There's 50, 60, 7-year-old people trolling these videos and putting Trump 2020. Like, what are you doing? Turn your computer off. You don't know anything about social media. You're an idiot. You're a dummy. So Duane said it's not Trump. It's going to be the next president. I disagree with that a little bit, but there's a lot of truth to that. Nobody is going to have everyone love them. We, not me, because I don't give a shit about Trump, give Trump power. That is true. If Hillary won, there would be more complaining. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. The next president, there will be complaining. Absolutely. It's not ever going to be acceptable on both sides, ever.
I can't remember any president ever where everyone liked them.
No.
It's just
the last president where the vast
job.
majority liked him was assassinated.
We should just get rid of the president and go to a board,
a collective bargaining board,
something.
Yeah,
just and not just have politicians. States. You need to have like scientists on that board. You need to have a whole bunch of different. So there's probably like 20 or 30 people on that board.
That's one of the coolest things about the recent midterms is there are people that aren't like there are people from all walks of life that are now a part of Congress. We've got the most diverse Congress now than we have ever had in the history of man, or the history of America, at least.
I'm going for Congress,
and I think it's just going to get more. You could, I mean, the way things are going, if you pay attention to some of the congressional candidates. You probably have a decent... as long as you can convince the people that you stand for them and represent them, you might have a good shot.
Right. And also, like, speaking in Congress and these political... what's the other... the Congress and what's the other thing?
Senate.
Senate. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Senate is a bunch of like, that's what's the difference? I forget.
They make different decisions.
Congress is like
I don't want to be misquoted, so.
like
Congress and Senate are two words that have become so commonplace that a common citizen hardly pays any attention to the differences between these two legislative bodies. Congress and Senate represent the legislative branch of the government, which is one of the three branches, other two being executive, the president, and judicial, the Supreme Court. If you two remain confused between Congress and Senate, read on this article will clear all the doubts from your mind. Though both have similar functions as legislative bodies involved in lawmaking, there are differences in the roles and responsibilities of the Senate and the House that will be highlighted in this article.
okay, well that's fine. So there's so many uneducated people in these roles. They're passing laws on things that
Congress is the House of Representatives plus the Senate. So Congress is both bodies put together.
They're so out of touch and they're uneducated in what they're making laws about. It's insane. Like, how can you have that job? Like, if I was to have a Congress job or passing laws, or Senate or whatever, I guess it would be Congress, I wouldn't be voting on just a side, or I would try to understand whatever the hell the law that we're passing. Like, what is I need to know information about it. I need to be educated about that subject matter, whatever it is. And you see all these interviews with, like I've seen in many documentaries, them interviewing them about some law that they passed, and they don't even know what the hell they passed. They don't even know what they voted on.
I absolutely
How
agree.
is that even a thing? Like, how, you just go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo? Like, what the hell?
You know how they're deciding what they're voting on?
Oh, who tells them, but with money?
Whoever's putting the most money in their pocket.
Yeah, which means they're uneducated and stupid.
Yes.
Secondly, and like when they ask questions to, like, I mean, we've seen this the last two things with Facebook owner or CEO and Google's CEO, right?
Yes.
Congress is asking them the most simple, stupid questions
That does not pertain to
anything. Like,
Right.
like where
That just
is,
shows that we have people in Congress that shouldn't be there.
yeah, where's the people standing up going, "Excuse me, why are you asking this stupid question?"
Yeah.
Nobody does that. Why not? Like, if I was there, I'd be like, hold on, how does that pertain to anything?
Absolutely.
Stop right where you are, because you
Absolutely
need,
agree.
Pass the next guy, read something, please. Like, it makes no sense. It's annoying. It's like, how are these uneducated fools, these buffoons, passing laws that affect me and you? Like, it's almost like giving a 7-year-old the ability to tell you where you can go, what you can do. Like, it's like giving your, like a Maya the option of what you're gonna do with your life.
Right.
Right
Absolutely.
now.
You know, that's true.
She's telling, you're like, okay, Amaya, what am I going to do next year? What am I allowed to do? And then you have to follow that.
Right.
Or I'm going to jail. That is the level of insanity that we have. Not to say that there's anything wrong with a 7-year-old, but 7-year-olds shouldn't be making laws that adults live by. They don't have enough experience or education about things to make educated decisions about the bigger pictures of things. What are you looking at?
There's a scary report that just came out. We'll finish this segment and
It's insane.
It is idiocracy, and if you watch the movie, that's the route that we're headed. Dad said hopefully in 2020 Trump will be exiled to his tower with an ankle bracelet, but at the same time we'll have to pick up the bill for protecting him from getting knocked off by Russian oligarchs or the Prince of Saudi or Erdogan or Melania. Our democracy still has a chance to change things. The blue wave in November. Duane said, hella people complained about Obama and was racist as fuck. Again, we will never, ever have a president everyone likes. That is true, but that is not the point. The point is, if we don't start paying attention and putting people in Congress, which is the House and the Senate, if we don't start electing the proper representatives, things are not going to change. So that's where it starts. We have to start electing people into these positions that are going to represent the people of this country. And that's what we're doing in a big way. That's why it's exciting to see who was sworn in last week. If you look up, just for shits and giggles, go on Google when you're bored and look up who was sworn in Congress. And look at the diversity of people that were sworn in. There's an uproar on the right side of things. Our conservative side of the country is pissed off because there were 51 different religious books that were used to swear in members of Congress instead of the Holy Bible.
Who cares?
Thank you.
Who gives a rat's
If they're going
ass?
to represent us, I don't care what God they pray to.
Isn't that what this country is founded on?
Freedom of religion?
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the major things?
Yes.
So your argument about being pissed off about that makes you look like an ignorant buffoon.
But you know what their argument is? The Pledge of Allegiance says one nation under God.
Doesn't say which God.
It doesn't say which God, but under God was added after the Pledge of Allegiance was written.
True story, that too.
They forget to realize that. You forget that there
I get
is
to pick
a
and choose.
separation of church and state, which means church should not have a deciding say in anything political in this country, but as it is illegal to preach politics from the pulpit, how many churches and pastors are telling their congregations who to vote for?
Are they really?
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
I've never been to a church that was
The nutcase that runs 700 Club is constantly praising Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's like a religious
Christian
show.
Broadcast Network is
That's a
constantly-
religious what's the best like
We need to get
sitcom? Not
my
sitcom,
dad on
but-
here when we talk about this subject too, because for a while my dad was very involved in the church, and
So was I.
he was encouraged to vote a particular way based on what his congregation, his pastor, and his uppers in the church were telling him to vote. So he voted a certain way, and for a while, my parents did not speak to each other because of that. As a result, and I'll let Dad tell the story someday when he's here.
That's insane.
But yes, there are a lot of churches that remind people that voting is coming up, and they'll put in their little pamphlets that you grab when you walk into the door. That'll have a little disclaimer on the back that reminds you who you should vote for, and it'll list names of people that you should vote for, which is illegal. But you know why nobody's going to go after them?
Because they're a church and they're exempt from everything.
Exactly.
It's so
Churches who really should, by the definition of church and humanitarian and everything holy and everything gloriful.
I mean, church is really just a business.
Where does tax money go? Back into the communities. Our tax dollars here go back into better roads, paving the roads. Our tax dollars here go into our educational systems, which Evergreen is now going to have to do a bunch of layoffs and extracurricular activity cuts because they're facing $17 million budget cut, I believe. Their funding is way over $17 million over the top. So they're talking about completely wiping out a lot of vocational and extracurricular programs, which includes stuff like drama, band, and choir. Could you imagine our youth not being able to have artistic outlets growing up? Evergreen School District is facing that right now because there's not enough money to go around, but yet the head of the food chain at Evergreen School District is still making a $600,000-$700,000 a year salary. $500,000 to sit on their fucking ass, tell their teachers what they should be doing to teach their kids, going to these meetings and deciding what the curriculum needs to be or what it shouldn't be, and really not doing shit. Plus, you get a paid vacation 4 months of the year. The teachers don't get a paid vacation. When they're during summertime, these teachers aren't getting paid for it. But the school administrator do because they're on an annual salary of $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year.
It's crazy.
But now we're going to have to cut out extracurricular activities because these schools can't afford.
How about they just drop their pay a couple?
Thank you.
thousand? Like, why do you get to have that much money? I mean, what? They work their way up from what, teacher or no?
Maybe.
Maybe or probably, probably something else usually.
They probably have an MBA or an administrative degree, some sort of degree
But what are they
from a
really,
major university.
What are they really doing that's of value of that? Like,
That's what I want to know.
I mean, if somebody
I'm sure
can
there's a lot of
explain to me-
teachers that would be way more valuable in the administration seat right now than the administrators are.
Can somebody please explain to me what they're doing of value? That
How are they justifying their paycheck?
yeah, like what's the value you're providing? Like your a job does not exist to pay you. You're only as good as the value you bring a company.
What are you bringing to the table?
So what value are you bringing to deserve that kind of money? That's all I want to know.
They're making the decision on whether or not kids are allowed to wear certain clothes to school.
Is that a $500,000 value?
Oh, to them it is.
But how can you explain that? Like, what kind of what are you doing?
I'm with you. I'm with you on this. How can you justify your paycheck? I want to see it.
I mean, if you can, please
And
convince
that's why all
me.
the teachers went on strike last row before school started. Because all of these people at the top of the food chain are making 5, 6, 7, 10 times what teachers' salaries are, but they're not doing shit to earn it. The teacher's the one having to be the parental figure in most kids' lives now because both parents have to work. They can't afford to do a one-parent household anymore. The average American family doesn't have a parent that stays home, so they don't have a parent that can nurture their kids. They have to rely on YouTube to teach their kids what they social skills.
Are these people like really managing? So they're overseeing like an entire school district, right?
Right.
What you're saying. So are they really managing all the teachers and principals? Like, how does that look? Like, what is their day to day? What are they doing in managing the staff and I'm just coming to a failure of thought of like how that computes.
I'm right there with you.
So like in a business sense, like if I grow my business, to where I add more trucks, then eventually start another location, another city, right, or another state, right?
Right.
And I'm bringing more and more jobs, putting in all the effort and work that takes to build that infrastructure out, and I'm making more and more money by doing so, right? There's a clear building of an infrastructure that makes sense, from a business standpoint. You're hiring people to do different managing tasks to manage, because eventually your infrastructure gets so big you can't do it by yourself, right? So, and that makes sense. But how a lot of these people, they just get these jobs, right? They aren't like, oh, we're going to start a school, right? They aren't like they didn't put in the work, is my point.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I want to know how that computes.
I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you.
I could see it from building a business. Like if you start a business small and you grow it and it becomes this big thing and you're making more and more money, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense. But from a school thing, it's not a business.
Justify your paycheck.
School is not a business.
Yes. So the scary thing that caught my attention, I'm not even going to go through the whole Trump wall debacle anymore because I think everybody knows that it's full of shit. And if you don't know, you aren't going to. You're just clueless to me. But this is scary.
Yeah.
And this came out an hour ago. When we have food places or food being delivered to grocery stores, who regulates that?
You talking about like shipping companies that bring
No.
product to grocery stores?
No, who regulates the food industry in this country?
It's supposed to be the FDA,
Thank you. If there
which is a lot of nonsense in that too. But
there is and there isn't. Like something is necessary for
Yeah.
regulatory purposes.
for sure, a lot of it like
If
certain areas.
something is declared E. coli ridden, who makes the call to have it pulled from the shelves?
I would guess the FDA.
The FDA. Who prevents us from getting sick if there's some sort of widespread outbreak in the food system? Supposed to be the FDA.
Yeah, and also, there's also the Center for Disease Control. Well, that's
They're
kind
less
of-
food. They're more
yeah.
communicable.
But they, it could be related in
Yeah.
some things.
Well, and you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they fall under the same category as what we're about to dive into. Dad said Trump just walked out of a meeting, re the wall, after 10 minutes. He said it will be the wall or nothing. The shutdown will continue. Now watch the motherfucker declare an emergency. Fucking dictator throwing a tantrum. And he can do that. If he doesn't get his way and if there is no agreement to bring the government back to operating status. Oh, it's Mom. Mom said motherfucker. He can throw a tantrum and declare a state of emergency. You know what a state of emergency will do?
Gives him more power, probably.
It will give him the ability to force appropriating funds for the wall immediately.
But that could be like, there could be so if he does that, then the government comes back.
The government can't come back if he declares a state of emergency because the government is currently shut down. This is like chess.
There has to be a check and balance for this.
But there's not. If he declares a state of emergency, it is basically like throwing all of the chess pieces off the table and screaming checkmate.
There has to be a law.
We would think there has to be, but there's not. Like any way you look at it, you can look it up. Look up the routing. So many people have tried. So many people have tried to figure out. Okay, there has to be a roadblock here. If this happens, there has to be a pawn or a rook or a knight that we can put put here to stop that from happening. But there's really not, and that is what's so fucking scary about living in America today, is because with all of the rules and regulations that we've written, it is still structured so the president can become a dictator overnight if he really wants to.
So why hasn't that happened before, if that's the case? Like, there has to be something.
Because realistically, no president before has wanted that burden on their shoulders. So if any president declares martial law and decides to do something regardless of what the House and the Senate say, they can, but when the smoke settles, they will go down in history as somebody who is very treasonous and one of the most vile human beings in American history.
So
no president has, regardless of how good or bad a president was, every president until this one has had some ounce of patriotism in them.
So this sounds like a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He can become Hitler overnight if he wants to. Now,
thought in my brain, I'm not gonna say.
No, go ahead.
No, because I'm not gonna. I don't want certain government officials knocking on the door in 15 minutes.
Bring it on.
But
a mom said he can shut down all internet. If he declares a state of emergency, he can declare all internet lines be shut off immediately. So we can't communicate with one another. We can't broadcast what's really going on. So the major news.
Yeah, this would lead definitely to where my brain is going to say on the air, but I'm not going to.
No, you can't. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to.
If he declares martial law, he can do this, and nobody can stop him. Like, he can turn into this big fucking. If you want to put it into a pictorial sense, he can turn into that robot yesterday, but no chicken can stop it.
But I think a chicken will stop it.
We can hope.
Right afterwards. Like, it might happen for a little bit, but it won't take long for that chicken to creep in.
We can hope. We can hope. And we all have, us level-minded individuals have that same, like,
some crazy chicken.
May God help us, and
Some
may
crazy-
God be that chicken.
Yeah, well, some crazy chicken would step in.
Mom said he can shut down all of the internet, etc. in an emergency. No, there is no law, nothing written. We have had rational leaders in all three houses, and that's exactly what I was just saying. Up until now, we've had people that were patriotic enough that they were afraid of the repercussions if they made a decision like that, and the American people revolted against them. This guy that we have in office right now doesn't give a fuck. He's probably already got some sort of high-speed aircraft ready to launch his ass over to Moscow, and Putin's going to take him in. Because you know how much of a boner to give Putin to say, your American president is now one of our people, fuck you?
So
This whole thing is a giant chess game.
If that happened, then like,
And Mom said this is exactly what Hitler did. How long has Trump been trying to shut down our media? He's trying to convince the American people that our press, our freedom of press, is fake news.
that's true.
Since before he was elected.
I mean, a lot of it is, there is a lot of nonsense out there, but yeah.
But there are a lot of reputable, honorable sources as well. And he's trying to portray all news, unless it comes from the White House itself, as fake news. Those are the steps that Hitler convinced that enough German people that whatever else was going on outside of what his regime said was false and against them, and that's how they were able to power together to be able to throw all the Jews in the concentration camps.
But you're using the same people to do that. In this, I don't think. I'm hoping that our own
Hoping our own military will stand against him and say, fuck you, I'm not doing that?
Yeah, I mean,
that's exactly
to take out your own family and friends because some Cheeto motherfucker in the office. And
do you remember the exit letter that I read from Mattis a couple weeks ago? Where it was a very subtle yet blatant reminder to anybody in the military organization that their number one job is to uphold the Constitution of the United States, which starts with "We the People." So basically he was nonchalantly trying to remind them that you are part of We the People, and your job is to defend the people of this country regardless of what the guy in the White House says. Because the guy in the White House is about to take us all down the shitter.
I don't think we're gonna. I think we're kind of a little bit of sky is falling.
What?
What?
Oh, Mom said you just went on a long pause. Twitch got unplugged. And I looked at my phone. It said that the broadcast you were watching has ended.
It's back now.
Wonder if it's going to split this up into two different parts. That was weird. Maybe somebody heard something that didn't like it. Although, Twitch is owned by Amazon, which is ran by Jeff Bezos. And Bezos is not a fan of Trump at all. So
yeah, for sure.
I think we can dog Trump all we want. He's not going to care.
One would hope.
One would hope. So it is very scary, the power that this guy has, and that the chessboard that is laid out without having all of the checks and balances in place. We are still learning. It's 2019, and this country's been around for 250 years or so, and we still are fine-tuning our rules.
Of
and
course,
we're always going to be progressing. You're right. But this kind of stuff, like there should have been something put in place a long time ago that would prevent the president from being able to say, I declare federal emergency, turn off all internets, plug all the Comcast, unplug,
What benefit does that do, though?
Keeps us from talking to one another so he can easier control society.
But what benefit does that benefit him, like financially? Like, because that's really all he cares about, that and power.
We can assume, but we don't know. He's made a lot of moves.
It just doesn't make sense. I think he's just bluffing. I think really he's playing this thing, and he's got a 2-7 offsuit, and he's not showing his hand, and he's just pushing more and more money into the pot.
The problem is
bluffing.
The problem with that is this government shutdown that's been going on for the last 3 weeks so far has already put a huge damper on American society.
We've had big government shutdowns.
We
in the
have.
past. It's nothing new.
It's not new, but the fact that he is not even willing to negotiate is the scary part.
I think this is part of his negotiation tactics, and he's bluffing with his 2-7 offsuit, hoping he has enough in his pile that he can keep pushing into the pot that eventually that the government caves. That's all. Call him on his bullshit, government. Call his bluff, because he don't have shit except a 2-7 offsuit. And you got a pair of kings.
I am looking up the longest government shutdowns, and it looks like 21 days is the other longest one that we've had in modern governmental history, and that was 1995 December through January 95-96. Just a month after resolving a prior shutdown, President Bill Clinton and the House Speaker Newt Gingrich ran into a stalemate over a 7-year budget plan. Thus began the longest shutdown in U.S. history, which went from early December through the first week of the new year. The shutdown went on so long that museums relied on private funds to reopen, and therapists said that they were getting crisis calls from out-of-work civil servants. So right now, due to this government shutdown, the FDA is shut down. The Food and Drug Administration says it has suspended all routine domestic food facility inspections amid the partial government shutdown. FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb told the Washington Post that he is putting together a plan to resume inspections of facilities that are deemed high risk. The agency, which oversees the majority of the country's food supply, typically conducts roughly 160 routine inspections per week, the Post reported. While food inspections of most of these facilities have halted due to the funding shortfall caused by the government shutdown, Gottlieb said he is seeking to bring back enough workers to investigate high-risk facilities which deal with sensitive foods such as seafood and cheese. Investigators during these routine checks typically look for unclean conditions, bug and infestations, and harmful contaminations. We are doing what we can to mitigate any risk to consumers through the shutdown, Gottlieb said. The FDA is still reportedly inspecting foreign manufacturers and producers involved in recalls or outbreaks. 40% of the agency's operations are covered by Congress, while 60% is funded by user fees, according to the Post. The shutdown on Wednesday hit day 19 as White House negotiators and Democratic leaders continue to dig their heels in over President Trump's demand for more than $5 billion in border wall funding. Trump has been seeking to frame the wall as the answer to a crisis at the border, while Democrats insist that the president is playing politics and seeking to shore up support from his base. Democrats have offered $1.3 billion for border security measures, but no specific money for the wall. More Americans are feeling the ramifications of the prolonged shutdown as affordable housing contracts expire, Transportation Security Administration workers quit or call in sick, which is another story I don't even want to dive into today. We'll get into it tomorrow. But a lot of TSA workers have forced to quit and go find other jobs. So our airport security is about a third of what we normally have right now. Federal workers sue over the financial strain. Yeah, so we're worried. He's so worried about border security, yet now we have a whole bunch of people at the airports that quit and aren't doing the checks and balances that they're used to.
So you're opening up. You're basically making more holes in your quote-unquote wall.
Right. He's doing a whole lot more harm than good.
I hear all the quote-unquote people they grabbed were mostly from airports, as far as like people coming across the quote-unquote terrorists.
Right.
Are like, was 99% of them?
Yeah, Mom just said most dangerous people come in through the airports.
Yeah.
That is true.
It seems like a lot easier to go through the airport than it would be other places.
Yes. That is correct.
Because you blend in with the crowd. When you're trying to cross a border, especially like an open area, like you're kind of out in the open. So, yeah, it's insane. I think I'm not losing sleep over it as far as the Trump's nonsense right now. I feel like it's just a 2-7 offsuit bluff. That's where I'm going with.
Yeah. Matt posted a thing in our group chat. There's an update on the woman that was in a vegetative state that gave birth.
Oh, yeah.
Police are now collecting DNA of all male staff. I mean, we saw that coming. We knew that was going to happen, but A woman who has been in a coma for more than a decade gave birth recently while in an Arizona care facility. Now authorities are seeking DNA from the male workers there. The woman who gave birth to a boy on December 29th is a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe and has long been in a vegetative state. The tribe's chairman said Tuesday. CNN is not reporting the woman's name because she is the victim of sexual abuse. So now they are officially collecting DNA from all the male staff. So they're going to find out who the baby daddy is.
Fun.
Jeff said it's the Virgin Mary. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's an immaculate conception.
It could be.
I don't think so.
It could be a dozen. Well, I think that's good for today.
Yeah,
I mean,
me
we're
too.
at
Me too.
2.5 hours of live streaming right now.
So long that Twitch unplugged us for a minute. Isn't it funny that we were talking about the fact that Trump could declare martial law and unplug the internet, and then we get unplugged for a second?
Maybe.
That was awkward. Awkward. So we'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for tuning in and watching Funkshop TV. We appreciate you. We love you.
Yeah, make sure you don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, give it your little exclamation point thing for the YouTube shout. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it is?
On my way.
Jeff said, loved it, guys. Been sweeping leaves and cleaning the barbecue while listening. Appreciate that, Jeff. Jeff Grandstaff, my dude.
Boom, right there. There's information in there. Amazon gift card giveaway. Make sure you subscribe. Give us some thumbs ups on the videos. And would appreciate it.
Yeah, that. Looking at my list to see if there's anybody. I want to go and raid somebody fun today. The last few raids we kind of struck out a little bit. Yesterday was cool. Bunny was cool.
Let's raid
Yo, Jeff.
a
You
chicken
too, man.
herder. Can we raid a chicken herder?
I don't think I know of any chicken herders on.
Oh, okay. Just thought that might be interesting.
I don't think there are any chicken farmers on that I know of.
Well, not farmer. I just want a herder.
Right.
Somebody that specializes in herding chickens. Or cats. Cats would be cool, too. Cat herder.
No, I hate cats, dude.
Why not? You have to have a herder. Herd them all into one pen.
If we could raid a cat clubber, I might be down for that.
Or, oh, wait. Did you see that video of the gobble gobble guy? I think you should just show that really quickly.
Oh, the turkey?
Yeah.
Where was that at?
Did I put it in the chat? I think I did.
Yeah, it's probably so far back there.
So it's a little ways back. Man. It's farther back than I remember it being. Maybe I didn't put it in the chat?
No, I think you did.
I thought I did it like yesterday or day before. Alright, I guess it doesn't exist anymore. But it doesn't matter. Anywho.
We find it. We'll find it. We still got to do something with Francisco's video and add it to. And do a new intro. With the new cast members. Out with the old, in with the new.
Cactus.
Cacti.
So, you found somebody to raid yet?
I'm still looking, bro. Hey, we could raid InfoWars.
Let's not.
I can't believe they're even on here.
InfoWars, I thought they got kicked off Twitch.
They got kicked off YouTube.
And off.
Alex Jones got kicked
Facebook.
off of Twitch. So Alex Jones can't be on here anymore, but InfoWars still can.
Isn't that the same
This is
person?
the Alex Jones show, but it's different people that are hosting it now.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So they just had somebody else pick up
Maybe.
off the crazy.
Let's see if there's anything under Twitch Sings, if anybody's live. Under the new karaoke Twitch phenomenon. Hey, there we go. Let's go listen to somebody. Somebody is testing. It says their highlight is testing the favorite selection. It hates me. So let's go listen to this guy sing karaoke on Twitch. Woohoo! Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. You're watching Funkshop TV right here at Funkshop TV Twitch.tv/Funkshop TV. Make sure you go to YouTube.com/Funkshop TV and subscribe there.
True story.
True story, not a fake one.
We're almost at 60,000 minutes watched on YouTube.
Everybody, we love you. Be safe. Love one another. Call somebody. Mom and Dad, if you're still watching, I need to come and get that heater because it's been cold out here. I really can't stay. Baby, it's cold outside.
And in the garage.
Here we go. Thanks for watching. We're out of here. See you tomorrow morning.